to the coders. I just need confirmation that the coders are ready. Okay. Yes. All right. Refactory will be giving a brief to the different developers on the coding challenge. Now, these challenges, we have placed cameras in each and every booth. You'll be able to see the coding live on these screens. So you don't have to, you can move around and ask them about what sort of challenges they're trying to solve. But the idea is that look at Uganda, look at the pillars of SODE 2026. What challenges are you solving? And then all that will be live here on screen. Everyone will be coding. So allow me to invite the team from Refactory to give a brief to the developers. I just need your ears and attention, especially for the developers, to be able to listen in and make sure that you start right away. And right after that, we'll begin the State of the Digital Economy 2026 officially. You're welcome.
All right, good morning. Morning. My name is Eric Mwezi from Refactory Academy. I manage apprenticeship, and apprenticeship is what we call industry training. It's where we make people, we have developers experience the industry. So it's a challenge. Yes, I'm going to be here in media at SODI 2026. So make it quick. I like being a bit fast. For this challenge, we are solving for 5 pillars, and we're going to be coding for these 5 pillars: policy and governance, cybersecurity, human capital, infrastructure. So those policy and governance, cybersecurity, human capital, and infrastructure. The brief will be shared with the teams. That means all the teams will get the brief in the next minute. We shall get a link to the brief. The brief has the challenges divided into 4 parts, where you have a challenge, the problem statement, and what you're solving for. For this coding challenge, we are mostly focused on things that affect Africa and East Africa as an area of study. So for this challenge, we ask you, 1, focus within African context. Don't go above and try to solve for the world. Make it mostly about Africa. We are not solving for Silicon Valley. We are solving for African challenges. We are solving for what is mostly for us in Uganda, what affects us. We are not doing any theory, as I've said. We are doing a live coding challenge. We are building live. There will be constraints. We shall have constraints for our challenge, and they shall be passed to you. Okay, a minute. I'm going to take you through the challenges. There are only 5 challenges, and each team is allowed to choose a challenge. We are not enforcing people to stick to one challenge. You can choose a challenge that you feel like your team is capable of solving. The first challenge is named Building the Last Mile. We are trying to make sure that we include the citizen within the public infrastructure and how we can make the delivery better. So we are building for the last mile. That's challenge number 1. Challenge number 2, we are building, we are democrat. We are making sure that cybersecurity, people trust us. So we are securing SMEs and informal value chains against cyber threats. So number 1, we are building for governance and citizen inclusion. Number 2, we are building for SMEs and chains against cyber threats. Number 3, which is building capacity, which is the human capital. We are making sure that the youth economy and the informal sector is challenge. Number 4, we are optimizing connectivity, energy, supplies, supply chain logistics in our environment. So those are the the last one, sorry, I've forgotten. The last one is what we call inclusive intelligence. We are trying to make sure we anchor artificial intelligence within the context of Africa to make sure we have a local and viable artificial intelligence that is in our context. So those are the 5 challenges that will be passed on to the developers. The brief will be shared with you. In a few, we shall share with you the brief with more context. A link we shall be shared within the groups that we have created. The next 1 minute, and you can begin right away the live coding challenge. Thank you. Eric again from Refactory.
A round of applause for Eric Muhezi from Refactory. I think the brief was quite sufficient, and we're now going to start officially. But before that, I'd like to invite my co-host, Angel Cabrera, on stage. And I'll wait for a cue from the team behind the scenes to be able to let us in on when we go live on TV. But before that, I would like to give a shout out to all our partners. We do have a number of partners that have come together to put SODI 2026 together. And I mean, would not be here without you. We do thank all of you. I'll mention partner by partner much later on. Angel, you're welcome.
Thank you, Canary. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Angel Cabrera, and I am the communications lead at Startup Uganda, and I'll be co-hosting with Canary Mugume today. And I welcome you all to the State of the Digital Economy Conference, SODE 2026, and we'll get right into our program. I'd like to invite Joy Mwangi, the Chief Marketing Officer of Next Media, to come and let us know about SODE and give us a brief introduction of the day. Joy Mwangi, thank you.
A round of applause for Joy as she comes on stage. But also let us see on, as NextCom, as you were deciding to convene SODE 2026, why? And what do you hope to achieve at the end of the day? And what does success look like for you after this one? Joy, you're welcome.
All right. Our dear partners and distinguished guests, my group CEO, Ken Karisa, and it is so delightful to see young minds that are talking technology, AI, and transformation. Good, they taught me, Mujavere. Did I say it correct? Good morning. My name is Joy Mwangi, and NextCom wants to first and foremost welcome you to the Next Media Park, where we call home. We call digital transformation a space that in the 21st century, what is illiteracy? It's not learning or not knowing how to read and write. It's actually not being able to learn and relearn. So today it's exciting that we'll be able to see how do we do that? Allow me to take you through NextCom and what we do. So for one, we look at the reality, which is being able to ensure that, there we go. We're looking at reality where connectivity nowadays is not just about being able to have a phone. It's what you make use of it. And what is the gap? The gap is that we need to be able to be skilled to learn how do we transform connectivity into opportunity for ourselves. Now, this picture in particular is a story I wanted to tell. I remember when I was in high school, we used to make a long line to go and make a call with a landline. I think you've seen a telephone booth at the back. And now we have cellular phones. It is all on mobile. And now you don't have to make long lines anymore in boarding schools. You're able to just have access to make a call. And even on social media, now we're talking about live streaming. These are some of the developments that we're seeing within technology. And so we are saying that we want to build the digital economy, and we don't take part in conversations. We own them to power change and to become systems that are working for the economy. Our digital offering is Next Media. We are able to do paid media, we do social media strategy, influencer marketing, and analytics and research. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent. It is the ones that are most adaptable to change. We are a digital first agency that continues to work with organizations such as yourself to be able to move away from ambiguous conversations and talk to your consumer on their cellular device because that is what is they're using. Our services, we have three. We do creative and brand design. We have audiovisual and production. We have photography and digital content. In case you're wondering, I want to be able to build a brand that lasts, but a brand that can get to the consumer through digital. We are your agency of choice. We have a Next Creator space. I believe you'll be able to visit it as we go out. And in this space, we have created a space where young people, influencers, brands, agencies can come and use a creative space to create content that speaks to your consumer. Very indelibly so. And so I will show you a video just to create a picture of what the park looks like and our offerings within the space that is Next Media and that is Next Home. Can I get sound? Can I get sound, please? All right. Okay. All right, so that is Next Media, and pardon our sound. From studios to creative spaces to podcast spaces and studios to being able to bring your event alive, we have over 25 brands within our group that is able to cater to your needs as an organization. And so we're more than willing to have that conversation. Now, when it comes to mentoring the young people, we're not just having conversations, we are partisan in it to be able to ensure that we are bringing digital skills to our young people through the Next Creator program. And this is a program that looks to create jobs for 3,300 young people year on year in partnership with MasterCard Foundation. How do we do it? First, it starts by skilling them. And it's not just tarmac youth. We're also going off tarmac in 14 regions within Uganda to ensure that even those who are in Mbarara, in Mbale, in Jinja are able to get the skills that are necessary for them to learn, how do I use my cellular device and turn it into a job opportunity? Influencer. If you have heard, or if you're on social media like myself, you wake up and you will go on Instagram and you will see someone post a story. Before you know it, they have influenced you to purchase a product, to shape your opinion. Influencer marketing has become the new conversation around the marketing styles that are developing rapidly so. Young people are taking over the space and they're saying, I don't need a job in an office if I have my cellular phone. The next influencer is able to create opportunities for young people to be able to learn, how do I create content that speaks to my consumer, to my audience, and how do I convert that into money? Next Influencer is an outfit within Nextcom that looks to be able to train young people to understand, again, how do I become a voice of influence and how do I grow my social pages? What makes us different is that within our ecosystem, we have a robust pool of talent that has grown their pages over the years. And we're saying to you, an organization, why don't you use the same voices that already have an audience? They're credible. You see them day to day. You hear them on radio to be able to voice your product. And that gives you conversion and you're making sales. I think that is what business is. All right. Our promise is that we don't simply connect you with influencers and brands, we're able to give you credibility, sustainability in a way that you start to see return on investment. Transformation is not automatic, it must be learned and it must be led. All right. Okay, so why SODE? And I think that was a question that Canary asked. Nextcom, why does it matter to be able to have SODE year on year, this being our third edition? As I conclude, I say that AI is changing how Ugandans work. The question is no longer AI changes jobs, it is who is ready to use it. I do not see AI as a threat, I see it as an enabler to be more efficient and to be able to create more opportunities for young people, for brands, just as ourselves who are seated today. So from Nextcom, we wish you a delightful day and we hope that as you go home today, you learn something new about technology and we welcome you to be able to work with Nextcom in a way that we can create value to you. So we are here to serve you. Have a wonderful day today and enjoy.
Another round of applause for Joy Mwangi. She's our CMO, Chief Marketing Officer at Next Media. And thank you so much for highlighting, the role of Nextcom, but also most importantly on why it is convening. It has become such a powerful horse in convening the state of the digital economy. And you do highlight a couple of things, including what sort of a role you play and bringing together everyone here in the room to make sure that state of the digital economy. So beyond connectivity, I was having a conversation, I think yesterday, with the different partners, Nextcom, and then I think Collaborate. And when you see beyond connectivity, when we think about state of the digital economy, what happens next? So there's connectivity, and then what? And I think that's where we are right now as we do talk. Now, Angel, you want to take over the next session?
Yes, please. So I've been on stage before, but never as a host, so I'm very nervous, but I'm glad that I'm doing it with Canary. So up next, I'd like to invite a few students from St. Catherine Primary School, the Little Heroes team. They're going to showcase their mobile app, and they're showcasing Ugandan tech talent. So can the children from St. Catherine's please come through and show us your presentation?
Parents in Uganda are waiting for their child. First, a good character and a good future. But right now, most families in Uganda are practicing one of these at a time. My name is Libert and I'm with Trisha, John, and Travis. We are the Little Heroes. We have built an app called the Little Reward. Little Rewards helps make bed and an honest answer and finished homework page all into something good for your children's future. Here's the gap we are solving. Only about 20% of adults in Uganda have an account at a formal financial institution. Saving consistently is already hard for the parents, and almost 2% exist to help them save specifically for their child. A study across 44 Ugandan schools and over 1,700 students have found out that structured financial education has meaningfully improved on the child's saving habits. And at the same time, children rarely learn about where money actually comes from. So we end up with two missed opportunities of parents who want to save consistently, but they do not have that system, and children who will never grow up knowingly that money is earned through responsibilities, hard work, but not just given. That is exactly why we made Little Rewards. Little Rewards is a mobile app that helps parents save money for their children's future while building good habits at the same time. Parents can set long-term goals like universities, a business, or a dream career. Parents can assign everyday chores and good behaviors. When a child completes one, the deposit is deposited straight into the digital saving wallet. Relatives can also send some money to this app during the child's birthday or during his holidays. Our core belief is simple. This app helps parents raise responsible children while building a financial future for them, one good deed at a time.
On the parent dashboard, a parent creates a profile for each child, sets a savings goal, and adds chores and behaviors. Anything from making the bed to reading for 20 minutes to telling the truth. Each task carries a reward. Make your bed earns 500 shillings, while finishing a grade school report makes you earn 5,000 shillings. On the child dashboard, kids see today's tasks, mark them complete, and watch their savings grow in real time.
Most child bank saving accounts mainly focuses on saving money, but it does not enable a parent raise a well-behaved or motivated child. What makes Little Reward different is that because we help two persons in this situation, we help a parent raise a responsible child and a well-behaved child. Now we help our child grow up with financial achievements in his life. We are seeking pilot funding and mentorship to launch our Little Rewards with our first 500 parents who are helping us with this project, refine rewards and gamification system, open up early conversations with commercial banks for our junior saving accounts. We are also seeking partnerships with commercial banks and other financial institutions who share our vision of building up financial habits from childhood, turning today's college fund into tomorrow's better future. Our rollouts start through trusted parent networks like schools, churches, or parent WhatsApp groups, where recommendations from other parents carry great weight. Every badge a child unlocks can become shareable, like a parent posting that her child is the reading champion is our best advertisement and it costs us nothing.
Kids earn badges like Responsible Star and Saving Superstar. And in the future, every reward can flow directly into a partnered junior savings account, and where your grandparents and relatives can contribute to.
One good deed, one little reward at a time.
That was the Little Heroes team from St. Catherine's Primary School. Thank you so much for sharing your presentation with us and for letting us know that it's not just about finances, it's about culture, it's about manners, it's about responsibility. And I think it's such a pertinent issue to address as we try to assimilate tech into our society, that tech is more than just software, it's a culture. It has the power to form how we think about life and how we relate with one another. So Little Rewards, I hope that's what I've picked from Little Rewards. I don't know what you have, but it's revolutionary and also inspiring to come from children from primary school. So up next, we have the Nile Stars from St. Catherine Primary School as well, with a presentation on their platform. So Nile Stars, you're welcome to the stage, and let's get their presentation rolling.
I am Nangulu Masi and I am the CEO of Nia Stars.
Hello everyone, I am Kansima Sharing and I am the project manager of Nia Stars.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayabare Dorin and I am the marketeer of the Nia Stars. In a class of 40 students, one teacher cannot give everyone attention. So a lot of kids fall behind, not because they are not smart, but because they are not given chance to ask why or how. So a lot of kids go home confused. What do? They Google it or use an AI, but those answers are made for adults, full of big words instead of helping us to understand it.
Many children do not fully understand what they are taught in class. At the same time, the rise of digital tools and artificial intelligence has made it easier for children to access quick answers without truly understanding concepts.
Today, many students are also using AI tools to get quick answers, but these tools do not explain in a way children can understand. That's why we built the Learn Buddy app. The Learn Buddy app is built for students just like us. So, how does Learn Buddy actually work? First, a student types in or asks a question about their schoolwork, maybe math, maybe science, or anything they are stuck on. A student selects a lesson and reads a simple, easy explanation.
Other apps and AI tools just give answers fast. LearnBuddy is different just because it cares about understanding, not shortcuts. It is built for children, not adults. It is designed to build confidence, not dependence. And it because it fits in different curricula. No child gets left out just because of where they live or what curricula they follow. That is why we built LearnBuddy app. LearnBuddy does not think for you, but it teaches you how to think.
Every child deserves to understand, not to just memorize things. This creates a growing up where students can access information but still lack real understanding.
Games and an AI assistant designed just for kids.
With LearnBuddy app, no child is left confused. Thank you.
Another round of applause for I was going to tell Keen that he has a fellow CEO in the room. I don't know where it's gone, but that's quite interesting. And I think some of these solutions, I'm an IT student. I never went to journalism school. I had an opportunity that Next Media was able to train me in journalism, but I'm a developer. But after going to primary and high school and then university for 3 years, graduate, I mean, I wish I knew I could start tech solutions right away from when I was young. I would be a CEO at the age of 15 or 9, like these little kids from St. Catherine. So it's really impressive to see the kind of solutions they're able to bring up, but it's also quite interesting to see that their solutions are within their own community. They're not trying to solve solutions outside their community. So the LearnBuddy app, I think that's pretty impressive. Who can think of a solution real quick in school? Do you remember your school days? Anyone remember their school days? Who can? Angel, do you remember your school days? Yeah? I think my biggest problem would always be, which I think the first group tried to solve, my problem would always be that on visitation day, I receive money, but in 1 week it's done. And then you have to face the entire term with brokenness, starving, and help from friends. I don't know. Do you remember any? Do you remember any issues you had in school? Yeah. You were a rich kid. You didn't have any. You didn't have any kau.
Oh, it's called kao. For us, we called it stave. Stave. And I was in boarding for 2 years, so I didn't know how to manage my money in my A level. So similar to you, the money would get done early. Yeah.
Away from school, I think that also in everyday life, there are solutions that we can always find to our daily problems. I remember my third year project while I was graduating from school as a developer. I was asked to do something. And I remember developing something like a dental app. Yeah, a dental app where people are able to book and also have their history recorded. I forgot to get intellectual property rights for it. Now I've mentioned it on national television, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, but it's quite interesting. Now at this point, allow Angel and I just go through the partners that have made this state of the digital economy possible. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Uganda Communications Commission, UCC. Thank you so much for making this happen. A round of applause for the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. RENU, which is Research and Education Network for Uganda. Startup Uganda. DPI, which is Defenders Protection Initiative. Thank you. Don't get tired of clapping. Come on. Collaborate. Milima Security. FinCom. NITA Uganda. Refactory. NSSF. Brighter Monday. GDG, which is Google Developers Group. Vision Africa, and our convener, NextCom. Thank you so much for making this happen. I mean, we do highly appreciate that, and we also do understand that you've taken off time to make it here. I mean, what a better way to make use of your time. And I can see at the back of the room, our guests are now here, and it's an honor to also be the hosts for this state of the digital economy. Looking into some of the things that are actually important today, a round of applause for the guest of honor, the Honorable Minister Justin Kasule Lumumba, Minister for ICT and National Guidance, in the room. Thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you so much, Permanent Secretary Dr. Zawede. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, Honorable Olanya, for taking time and looking forward to your presentation later on today. I was mentioning the partners. I guess we'll get to that part much later on. But at this moment, allow me to invite the Group CEO of Next Media, Mr. Ken Karisa, to give the opening remarks, and you're welcome on stage, Mr. Karisa.
Our chief guest, sometimes we don't thank people enough. I saw Right Honorable Kasule Lumumba in Adjumani on Wednesday, 6 p.m. on NBS. Last night, beyond midnight, I saw her on NBS Frontline. This morning, she's here. I don't think we thank these people enough. We assume they are superhuman or they are not human beings. And in most cases, we just pile abuses, insults onto them. We never thank them. Thank you, madam. Thank you for being selfless. Thank you for being a super Ugandan and for supporting Uganda. Thank you, and you're most welcome. So let me do the protocols so that whoever comes here, you just say protocols observed. So our chief guest, Right Honorable Kasule Lumumba, our Minister for ICT and National Guidance, our Permanent Secretary, Dr. Amina Zawede, Permanent Secretary, Minister of ICT and National Guidance, the Chairman, ICT Committee of Parliament, my brother, Ojok, Olanya, Andrew, and other honorable MPs, like Honorable MP from Entebbe, the representative of UCC, Haruna Msinguzi, who is the Director of Finance representing the ED-UCC, and then the representative of ED-NITA, Director Cybersecurity, all our partners, all our distinguished guests, and all our speakers, and the young people, you are most welcome. Next Media, Honorable Minister, is not a television. People think that this is NBS. It's not a television, it's not a radio station. It's an infrastructure that spurs national conversations. We've done conversations on the national economy, on the housing, using Housing Baraza. But for the last 4 years, working with UCC, which is one of your agency, we started this symposium, which is an annual symposium, basically to talk about the state of digital economy. And I think we need to clap for UCC and all the other partners for supporting us. Now, this year, we are talking about beyond connectivity. And I want to say, Uganda has really moved. We are a highly connected country. I remember 20 years ago, Honorable Minister, in one of the committees as we were preparing for CHOGM. CHOGM was a big meeting where the Queen had to come, the Prime Minister of Canada, Gordon Brown, the Prime Minister of, I think, Great Britain, and all the others had to come. And the Commonwealth Secretariat then told us we must tick some boxes. One of the boxes we had to tick was internet on the phone. By then, this man, Dr. Torach, Julius Torach, was on the committee that I was chairing then. At the age of 28, I was chairing a national committee preparing for CHOGM. Julius was on that committee. So they said, CHOGM might not happen if we don't have internet on the phone. If these delegates don't receive their emails on these phones, forget about CHOGM. It's not like AFCON, they're talking about beaches, hotels, no internet on the phone. And no Ugandan had ever had internet on the phone by 2006. This is 20 years ago. And now, so chairman of the committee, Otugambachi, what are you saying? I said, you know what? I went to UTL, we met Hans Paulsen. Hans said, there's no business case. There's no business case, no Ugandan. We will not even have 5 Ugandans to say they will have a phone with internet. For what? We went to MTN, Eric Van Veen. Eric Van Veen said, please forget internet on the phone. We went to Zain, Yese. He said, if you can convince government for an uptake of about 250, we can go and convince BlackBerry to set up a server here, and we provide this service so that we can have CHOGM. So we went to the National Committee, we put up a case, they said, okay. So I told them, if we can have all ministers, all PSCs, and all directors get BlackBerries with internet, UTL and Zain will provide this service. They said, is it so? Please, tomorrow you start. So that's how we convinced Paul Hansen to get 300 and then 250 users at Zain. And we started that journey of having internet on the phone. We started the BlackBerry services in Uganda. You remember? Yes. By then, the whole country, Michael, my brother, didn't have even 1G. 1GB. The GB people buy every dawn from these telcos. Because there was no fiber to the sea cable. It was all satellite. And the whole country, we added Julius, I think it was 700 and something kbps or something. Not 1 GB. Fast forward. Right, Honorable Minister. I come from a place, you see on that map where Uganda is very straight and starts to make a W. A place called Ntungamo. That's where it starts to make a W. I take like 5 hours to reach there. I have 5G, as in that remote place. In Ntungamo, a place called Ruhama, Rengoma, a village called Nyakaita. I move from here, Naguru, I move on tarmac to my home. As in tarmac. I have UEDCL electricity, not solar, UEDCL, and I have national water in that place. So let's appreciate government where they have done some good. But on the issue of connectivity, 20 years ago, I've narrated what we went through then and today. The 5G, our children, even ourselves, what we enjoy is the same 5G they have in New York, the same 5G they have in Beijing, the same 5G they have in Dubai. Not so. So connectivity is sorted. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, PS. Thank you, UCC. And thank you, Parliament, for all the work you've done. Now that we have connectivity, Honorable Minister, can we earn from that connectivity? Can we create jobs using that connectivity? Can we export services using that connectivity? Can we have conversations beyond this connectivity that we have? Can each government agency think about this connectivity and how they can turn value out of that connectivity? That's why we have this SODE, State of Digital Economy, to have those conversations. And throughout the day, Honorable Minister, we'll have different speakers. We might have 100, 150 people here, stakeholders, but we do have millions, about 15 million people watching online and on TV. So this conversation is going beyond this room. And that's why we only invited stakeholders, we invited Parliament, we invited the Ministry, NITA, UCC, and other stakeholders and other partners. So how do we empower young people? How do we skill young creators? Everyone with a phone is capable of creating their own jobs, not seeking jobs. How do we empower these young creators to create content that sells? That's the program Joy Mwangi, our head of Nextcom, was talking about. It's a huge program. We have a plan of skilling so many young people and create 1.5 million jobs in the next 3 years. It's a huge, huge program. How do you create streaming platforms so that we are not net consumer of content from abroad? We create our own content so that Ugandans consume their own content than consuming content from outside there. In South Korea, they consume 90% of their local content. In China, 95% of their local content. What are we doing as Ugandans to make sure we create content creator hubs to empower our young Ugandans to create their own content? We've started that journey, Honorable Minister. We have the biggest content creator hub in Uganda here at Next Media Park. We are creating other 14 in all major cities, working with partners like MasterCard, UCC, Ministry of Gender, and others. Those are the things we are working on to empower Ugandans so that we don't become net consumer of imported content, because it will dilute our culture. It will distort our story as Ugandans. Honorable Minister, as I conclude, I have some 3 requests. One is to do with these devices that we use, the phones. These phones, we should not look at them as luxuries. These are tools of work. These are tools to do more, to do health, to do anything. People no longer need to be in offices to work. They just need to have a phone to clear your bills, to access the bank, to do whatever. So these are tools. And as we talk about the 10-fold growth, we need to think about things that will spur that growth. And these devices, these mobile phones, I believe will be part of that journey. We are glad that we have Parliament here and we have the ministry here. In East Africa, it is only Uganda that charges import tax on phones. Not Kenya, not Rwanda, not Tanzania, not South Africa, not Nigeria. They know for sure, once you empower these Ugandans, there's a lot of creativity. People will sell their products on these phones. But that import tax, the tax you are charging from that, actually you'll charge it from these other services that they will provide using this once you create that inclusivity. So it's something, Honorable Minister, that we need to start on now as they work on the budget and tax plans for next year. And you say, you know what? Like others, we don't want Ugandans to escape to Kenya, to Rwanda or Tanzania to go and buy phones there to come and use them in Uganda. Why should you encourage Magendo? So please join me in thanking the minister, because she's going to go and start to work on this one. And Honorable Olanya, they are going to start on this. Because why? Get these more phones, they will access more data. You're already taxing data. You will get more. You will have more people. You will have more exclusivity. The second one, request, I have only 3, is internet, the cost of internet. The other day I gave a tip to a lady. She served me and I gave a tip of 20K. I said, here is your tip. Then I asked her, what are you going to use it for? Are you going to take your friend out or whatever? I said, I'm going to buy data. That is the thing. Omume mere, neno mwachi. But this data is expensive to Ugandans. And this is why. Not because of infrastructure, the government has done a lot. Through ICT and NITA, they have laid fiber border to border. There is connectivity. That infrastructure is open access. So ISPs are using it to leverage and cut costs. But look at the other costs. Honorable Minister, we import internet connectivity because internet is connection to servers across. So URA sees it as an imported service. They slap 18%. As they sell it to me, they do input VAT, they add 18%. They also do another withholding, 6%. They do another excise duty, 12%. Total, 54%. All that, the ISPs and the telecos lump it to the final consumer. I don't know that you get it. It's something government needs to look at I already told you how I'm enjoying the other services in that small place called Nyakahita. That I have power, I have roads, I have water, I have internet. I can live there the same lifestyle I live here in that place. Government has done well using our taxes in that space. We are saying actually you can do more. If you lower that tax, you will have more people uptake the service and you will charge. We are not saying scrap it completely. Can you look at that tax structure and see how to support the internet service providers? The last request. UCC is here, the ministry is here. There is a platform called TikTok. It's the most popular platform in Uganda today. Every Ugandan, I thought it was for young people, we all enjoy it, but I met a general, I don't want to mention, but he's a minister also. He told me, you know what, I have a problem. At home at 3 a.m., I go in the toilet, my wife cannot hear me and I am going through. But sometimes they make noise and embarrass me, but people are on TikTok, from ministers to young people to whatever. It's a good platform. Ugandans are making a lot of content on that platform. However, they are not earning from it. TikTok has not monetized in this country. So many content creators are making a lot of content there with these creator hubs we created, but they're earning nothing. Now we are saying, can the government of Uganda, through the ministry and UCC, engage these platforms and say, you know what, you need to monetize in these countries that our creators who are powering your platform can earn from it. One of our neighbors with a smaller market, our market is 10 times theirs. They have engaged, they have started that journey. Very soon they will monetize, if they haven't monetized. I won't mention the name of the country, but a much smaller market. Ours 10 times bigger. They are proactive, they have engaged, they are monetizing. X, that is very popular today with politicians and all leaders. You cannot monetize X in Uganda. You must get an account somewhere else, Kenya or elsewhere, for it to monetize, to earn from X. So our contributors, our content creators cannot earn from X. So that request, Madam Minister, is very key to these young people, that we engage these platforms. They listen to governments. They don't listen to individuals. They listen to UCC. They listen to governments. Engage them proactively. Let's commercialize these platforms to enable and empower our young creators. Thank you very much. And you are most welcome to SODE, to the state of, I hope I've summarized the state of, we are highly connected, but can we earn from it? Can we get jobs from it? Can we create value out of the connectivity? Asante sana, thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Group CEO, Next Media, Ken Karisa. Ken, I'm always fascinated by your story. About 5-6 years ago, he said, if you work at Next Media and you're not digital first, might as well find other things to do. So we went on TikTok, started creating content. If you see me on TikTok dancing. But the idea was that this is where the future is, and why don't you go there first? I'll share a secret from Next Media here. We even have a group of people who are above a certain following, because then why do we have to go out there, and yet we have the biggest following in the country, go out there to push a narrative on some of the services that we're giving. He said, if you're above a certain group following, we are going to be able to put in this group and push. He says digital first. We never understood, and he would always come every quarter to say, you're going to be left behind. So I'm so glad that rate at how fast you comprehend issues and be able to move fast. Glad to be led by you. On X, I think Honorable and PS and Honorable Minister, what Kin was saying is that when you post something and you go to the comments, out of 50 comments, you'll find one advert. That advert, Elon Musk should be paying you for that advert appearing in your comments. Me, I've just received my payout, close to $2,000 and they pay every 2 weeks. But imagine if every Ugandan was on this. But we cannot tag Elon to be able to monetize here and create a Stripe account. What I did, I have to go to Kenya, create an account there, run by a Kenyan. By the time they send me this money, they have already charged me also 15%. But if it was in Uganda, URA would be taxing, would be getting this money, and I would also be happy to receive it. Now it has to take me 4 days to get this money because it has to first reflect, then they charge me, then I quarrel with the person, you charge it 16 instead of 15. And it's 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, Elon Musk pays. But thank you very much, Kin. It's now time to look ahead, not just tomorrow, but all the way up to 2030, 2040, 2050. Kin has talked about Uganda's digital journey, where we are today. But now we need to answer a bigger question. What will our internet actually look like in 5 or 10 years? And what 5 critical decisions must we make right now to get there? You've seen the requests. To help us answer that, please join me in welcoming a leader who sits right at the heart of Uganda's communications sector, someone who understands both the numbers and the national vision, Mr. Haruna Msinguzi, who is the Director of Finance at UCC, to help us understand where we're supposed to be in the next 5 or 10 years. Welcome with me on stage, Mr. Msinguzi. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Henry, all protocol observed. But I must say, I must also join Kin in welcoming Right Honorable Justice Kasule Lumumba, our Minister for ICT and National Guidance, to this gathering. It's our first time. We are so grateful, Madam, for finding the time to get here. In the same vein, Kin, allow me also welcome my peers and also Honorable Andrew for finding the time. Also, I know you are not going to thank yourself, so allow me also to commend you and the entire team at Next Media for sustaining this important national discussion. We understand it's platforms like this which bring together leaders from government, from the academia, from the industry, to discuss what the future should hold for us. And I see very many young people in the room, which gives us even more happiness. It's only Comrade Torach, Honorable Andrew, and I who are putting on ties. When I reached outside there, I thought about removing it because the room is so full of young people and young energy. So now you don't know whether you have overdressed or whether you should keep it simple. But when we talk about our internet and where we would be in 2030, the thing we start with is, what will it look like? Will it be faster? Will it connect more people? Will it support more devices and more online services? Will it become a platform that powers our our Uganda's economic growth that transforms public service delivery, that creates new industries, that generates quality jobs, and above all, will it be secure and will it be trusted? So in defining this, we want to understand that Uganda's internet is no longer simply a discussion about technology. Ken has taken us through that journey of technology, but it's going to be basically how we educate our children, how we improve healthcare, how we modernize agriculture, how we create jobs, how we strengthen public institutions, and ultimately, how we improve the quality of every citizen. If we don't achieve those, then the rest is just going to remain infrastructure. And throughout history, different generations have been defined by the infrastructure they built. So the previous generations were involved in building of roads, these normal roads, the tarmac road, the Maram roads, and probably that was their calling at that time. There were those that were involved in electricity, that powered industry and transformed communities, but our generation, it looks like our biggest challenge is going to be around digital infrastructure. And everybody in the room needs to understand that's going to be the biggest probably calling of our generation and how we take up these challenges. Because this digital infrastructure has become very fundamental to development of nations and development of a people. And the countries that invest strategically in this digital infrastructure are laying the future for a very good future and will become the most competitive in the days ahead. So for Uganda, therefore, digital transformation is not merely an ICT agenda, it's an economic agenda, it is a social agenda, it is a government agenda, and it's a national development agenda. And the decision we continue making today are going to determine not only how Ugandans connect the internet in 2030, but also how they learn, how they work, how they trade, how we innovate, and how we do prosper. So this puts an ambition before us, and therefore we must have a very clear ambition. But Ken has given us some clues about how the journey has been. But I want to take us and show us how over the last 2 decades, we have experienced one of the most significant communications transformations in this country. A lot of things have happened, as Ken has said. He can now go to his village and be as if he's in Naguru or he's in Port Bell. And this has been through progressive government policies, sustained private sector investment, effective regulation, I must talk about ourselves, and strong partnerships which have been created along the way. So today you see digital connectivity supporting almost every aspect of our economy, from commerce, financial services, to education, to healthcare, to agriculture, and public administration. So in effect, what was considered a luxury a few years ago is now a basic human resource. In terms of statistics, Uganda today, as of March 2026, the last published statistics we did, we have got 47.5 million mobile subscriptions. We measure these in terms of the 30-day active SIM card that are active over a 30-day period, 47.5 million. We know there are those who have got SIM cards, but they only use them to receive. But as long as that SIM card has done an activity within 30 days, that is 47.5 million. Internet subscriptions, 20 million. These are people who use more than, around 20 million, these are people who use more than 30 MB per month. 30 MB, that's very little data. Then 36.3 million active mobile money subscriptions. These are accounts that are active over a 90-day period. and approximately 20.3 million smart devices within the country. We have 50 television broadcasters, this one being, let me stop there. But NBS, of course, and Next Media Group among the 50, and at the forefront of leading this digital innovation and transformation. So once again, thank you, Kin. And we have over 200 radio stations, again, this Next Media at the forefront of this station. So generally, the infrastructure has expanded very progressively. That's not talking about the investments we have done in broadband infrastructure, in 4G, in 5G technologies, which have overall strengthened the growth of our country. And these decisions, Honorable Minister and colleagues, are a result of very deliberate policy choices. They're a result of deliberate investment by the industry, and also an enabling regulatory environment. And this we've done through effective spectrum management, through infrastructure sharing, through consumer protection, and strategic interventions under our Communications Act. So across the country, we're already seeing the impact of these investments. We are seeing farmers accessing market information before selling their produce. We are seeing students learning beyond the walls of their classrooms. We are seeing small businesses reaching customers through digital platforms. And we are seeing health workers increasingly relying on digital tools to improve service delivery. And also we are seeing entrepreneurs creating business that compete beyond Uganda's borders. And these are the things we really need to see improving. And these cannot be isolated success stories. These are deliberate because government has been deliberate, the private sector has been deliberate, and the regulator has been deliberate to bring us this far. And yet, while we celebrate this progress, we must also recognize that the journey is far from complete. And therefore, the next phase of Uganda's digital transformation will not be talking about expanding connectivity, it will be about opportunities. Because connectivity alone is not going to guarantee us any results of value. And we see this because a community may have a network but lack affordable devices. Kin has elaborated this. I don't want to spend a lot of time. We've seen areas where there are 5G, there is 5G already in place, but the devices are not there to tap on that 5G. And the issues have been elaborated, issues of taxes and that kind of thing. We have seen schools that have internet, but teachers may not possess the digital skills needed to integrate technology into learning. And we also see health facility may be connected, but still lack the equipment required to deliver the digital health services. And also we've seen young people with access to internet, but they don't probably have the digital skills demanded of using that internet. And these realities do remind us that there is an important difference between access and meaningful connectivity. Probably my seniors, the PS, will be talking about some of these. And meaningful connectivity can only exist when digital technologies are affordable. That word will continue going in all rooms. Reliable, relevant, safe, and capable of improving people's lives. So our success, therefore, can no longer be measured simply by the number of towers we construct or the kilometers of fiber we deploy. It must increasingly be measured by the opportunities connectivity creates. So we see these young people, we ask ourselves how many learners receive better education, how many farmers, again, increase productivity, how many businesses grow, how many young people find employment. Just like Kano has been talking here, $2,000 is above the minimum wage. He could even be asking Kin to improve his, is above we don't have even a formal minimum wage. But $2,000 it places him among the highest earners of this country. And that's every 2 weeks. So when it becomes $4,000 in a month, I don't want to tell you how many senior government executives you have bypassed in terms of salaries. But if you are this side, you would be past so many of us. So in the last 20 years, we've basically been about connecting Uganda, and the next decade, therefore, must be about transforming Uganda through this digital transformation. And this is going to call for clear vision, clear policies, clear guidelines, and in a very coordinated manner, which I'm happy between our own ministry, government broadly, the different agencies within the space, the academia, the private sector, have already identified this and are actively working on it. So as we look towards 2030, which I was asked, we should ask ourselves a different question. What kind of Uganda do we want to build? That's one. Because the internet is no longer merely a communication tool, it has become the infrastructure that is going to power this modern society. It will influence how we learn, it influences how we deliver everything we've talked about. And in the coming decades, the countries that will lead will not necessarily be those with the largest populations or the greatest natural resources. They will be those that use these digital platforms very well to improve productivity, to foster innovation, and also to create opportunities for their young people. And we are really happy when we see these many young people coming forward to learn these things ahead, I mean, at a very early age. There are people, I don't want to mention, who first touched a computer at the university, say in the first year, and even then they were being told, this is a key, this is a mouse. If you move this like this, you will see something on the screen. But we should be grateful to government, to the setup that is giving all these people an opportunity to see, to feel these things at this very, very early age. So as we look this far, our focus now should be on people, because we've done something on the technology. So we really need to focus now on people. And we need to get every child, regardless of where they are born, to be able to access this quality learning. Happily, the children of Untungamo are already accessing. But we need this to happen to Omoro, we need this to happen to Gomba, and we need this to happen to the eastern part of the country as well. We don't want these opportunities to be limited to geographical areas, that if you must access fast-speed internet, you must come to Kampala, then you must do this. We want this to be all over the country. And we want to see teachers empowered with digital tools. We want to see farmers empowered with digital technologies. We want to see healthcare systems working very well and inclusive of everybody. And this is going to involve working beyond access. And this means we must put aside resources into investing in research. We must put aside resources into investing in innovation and entrepreneurship, and also strengthening many collaborations between academia, between the government, between industry, and between innovators. That's what will make this internet become a platform through which our own ideas will flourish. So then what are these key strategic decisions we must make along the way to get where we want to be? We feel that, number one, we have achieved all these. We need now to build trust and security within these systems, so that people, inclusion alone will not be enough. Participation is going to be built on trust. The systems must be trusted. If you put your money on mobile money, you must be sure it will be there tomorrow when you wake up. Citizens must get to trust these digital services, and the businesses themselves must trust these online platforms. We see so many scenarios where we still say, I'd rather have my cash in my pocket than have it on a digital account, because tomorrow when I wake up, I'm not sure the digital platform will be up and kicking. As regulators, as champions of this industry, we must make sure we build this trust and create resilience within the digital ecosystem. We have to get parents trust that when their children are online, they are safe. And also create resilience and security at national and digital levels. As UCC, we do continue to strengthen the country's digital resilience and cybersecurity environment. We have initiatives within the UCC. We have the computer emergency response teams. All these are meant to create a secure environment so that these platforms can be adopted, that this platform can be used without any fear. Secondly, we also believe that it is now time to recognize broadband as essential infrastructure. And this will be across government, across all of us. And then because when this becomes recognized at that level, then probably some of the issues you raised earlier on become more visible and they get more champions. Broadband will no longer be seen then as a supporting service, but truly a backbone of this modern economy. And with that comes so many perks. With that comes all of these tax considerations which you talk about. That comes all these how we approach the gadgets, because the moment we recognize that this is now part and parcel of a modern person, then you're going to approach it. They would approach water, or they would approach electricity, or they would approach a road in any place. Because we continue seeing, even when we have that network coverage of 88.6 we talked about earlier, translating it into usage is still a challenge. We have only, as I said, 20 million people have got proper access to it. And this is because predominantly of affordability of smart devices, as I already said, and the attendant taxes. So we have already started discussions with the Minister of Finance. We've given position papers, and we, as a regulator, we are showing how this can instead bring more revenues into the country when the taxes are handled appropriately. We will then also look at inclusion, of course, beyond connectivity. We shall definitely need inclusion. And as I said earlier, stop measuring through the coverage we have done, through the infrastructure we've put in place, but how many people have come on board and from all walks of life. So that we don't merely put infrastructure, leave it there without people to use it. Infrastructure will only come to life when people do use it. But most importantly, we have to harness emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, because these are the things that are going to make the usage of these digital services very lively. All of these apps which we have must be created. We must encourage our young people to get online, to create apps, to find business ideas. King talked about TikTok. Today we have 10.8 million TikTok users in the country. We have 9.9 WhatsApp. On YouTube, we have 6.5. Snapchat, you have 2.8. But the question sometimes remains, what are we doing when we go on those platforms? The issue then would be, we have to understand that these platforms can be leveraged to create real value, to create business opportunities, and to create an earning for ourselves. Fortunately, the young generation, which we are talking to, is already alive to these realities. So we just need to continue getting more examples, more champions, more people who talk about the benefits that exist within these opportunities. We see also a big move to create apps that are solving real problems, even within Uganda. And I'm sure some of the exhibitions that will be shown later in the day, Honorable Minister, will be testimony to some of this. At Makerere University, for example, through the Makerere Artificial Intelligence Labs, they've developed an AI system that can be used to diagnose maternal health care issues, diagnose tuberculosis, medication error detection, and these, among others, the kind of innovations or AI-powered system that can be scaled for national coverage to achieve what we are looking at. And beyond all the things that I'm saying, we are even lucky as a country that our population is predominantly youthful, so adaptation to these changes is going to be much easier. And as I said, when we start with them young, we are going to see more success. The fifth and final decision which we want to see is transforming this digital transformation into a shared national responsibility. Because we see no single institution is going to be able to build this Uganda's digital future, which we will be talking about. Government alone cannot do it. The industry alone would probably not do it. Academia alone would be challenged. The development partners alone, and the civil society alone cannot do it. So this is going to call for very strong collaboration amidst all the players to move ourselves to where we need to be. And the other main call is going to be in the areas of aligning our investments, aligning our budgets, strengthening research, developing future-ready skills. These are the things that will get us where I want to be. So as the National Communication Regulator, the UCC remains committed to working with all stakeholders to build an ecosystem where innovation flourishes, investment grows, and every Ugandan can participate in the digital economy. As I conclude, probably when we come back here next year, AI will be able to tell a speaker that you have used too much time, and the speaker will be able to conclude. But as I conclude, let me return to the question with which we began. How will this internet look like in 2030? The answer to that question, again, will not be determined by technology alone. As we have said, it will not be measured simply by the speed of our networks or the number of mobile subscriptions or kilometers of fiber we deploy. Those will not be the true measures. The true measures will be around the lives that we transform with these technologies. It will be seen in every child who gains access to digital education, regardless of where they are born. It will be seen in every farmer who uses technology. It will be seen in every entrepreneur who builds a thriving business. And it will be seen in every Ugandan who finds opportunity because they possess the digital skills. And that is the internet we should build. That's the internet we should look out for, the one that connects everybody, the one that derives innovation. I'm confident we can build it because the vision is there, the visionary leaders are there, we can build it with purpose, and we can build it together. I thank you for listening to me. For God and my country.
Thank you, Mr. Musinguzi, for that elaborate presentation and for reinforcing really the ethos behind the state of the digital economy is that we have to approach this from a 360 perspective. And so what he shared about we cannot have access without digital skilling, or we cannot have digital skilling without information sharing, is why we have gathered so many partners here in the different facets, whether you're a development partner, government, media partner, because this economy in order for this economy to transform the lives of Ugandans, all players must be aware of what it takes and the intersectionality within this economy. So thank you very much, Mr. Musinguzi from UCC. And following Mr. Musinguzi, I'd like to introduce Honorable Andrew Ojok Olania, the Member of Parliament for Omoro County, but he also serves as the chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on ICT and National Planning, and he's going to share with us what next, national guidance, what next after connectivity. Thank you.
Our chief guest, Right Honorable Lumumba, the PS of the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, my colleagues from the Committee of ICT who are here with us. I see Honorable Shaka from Entebbe Municipality. I think I saw Honorable Noah Musa somewhere, Dr. Noah from Koboko North County, West Nile. My presentation is going to be very brief. I'll basically talk about what the committee does, and then we'll look at some of the key issues. That pigeon that you see is one metaphor that could explain what digital transformation is. This pigeon on the presentation, if you look at the phrase, "for heaven's sake," is from a phrase that was written in a letter by Major Whitsley in 1918 in World War I. He wrote this letter, "For heaven's sake, stop dropping a barrage of bombs on us. We're your allies." He wrote that letter when they're surrounded behind enemy lines and they're being bombed by allies in World War I. This pigeon is called Cher Ami. Cher Ami in French means dear friend. This pigeon was released to serve that battalion, the 77th Infantry Division in 1918 World War I. It left the forest and was attacked in air, mid-air. As you can see, it was shot in the chest, it's blinded, but it had to deliver a very key message, 40 kilometers away. This bird flew 40 kilometers away within 25 minutes with this injury, all with the aim of saving those who are under fire in World War I. So in this, I feel that we need to, when building technologies, we look at the big picture. Why do we build systems? Why do we lay fiber? Why do we put all that? It's all about information. But information as we know it now can only serve if you know how to use it. If you look at the figures, from what UCC shared earlier, we have a population of 45.9 according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics. But out of the 45.9, over 23 million Ugandans, that is between the age of 18 and 30, are under the category of those neither in education, neither in employment, nor in training. So how do we use these platforms to actually reach out? The group CEO talked about Ntongamo having 5G. I'll talk about Omoro, where you have to climb an anthill to make a phone call. So those are the figures that we're working with. So as we have these discussions, we need to know that yes, the figures are there, but how do we make sure that no one is left behind? The ICT committee, as I mentioned earlier, we run under the Constitution of Uganda, Article 1 and Article 79. Article 79 tells us that Parliament has the power to make laws for the peace, for order, for development and good governance of Uganda. In the Commonwealth, there's a joke that Parliament has the power to make all kinds of laws except turn a man into a woman. So here we have the power to create laws for the peace, order, development, good governance of Uganda according to the Constitution. The Committee of ICT is under Rule 195 or and 197 that spells out what we're supposed to do. But key amongst them is to work closely with the sector. If you look at the first one, we're supposed to examine and comment on policy matters regarding the ICT sector. And I'm happy that the minister is here, the PS is here. We're here to work with you. We may be watchdogs, but it's for the good of the country. Because of time, I want to just talk very briefly about our focus areas as a committee. Our focus areas are aligned to the strategic plan of the Ministry of ICT and the sector. Digital transformation, e-governance, data protection, cybersecurity, policy and regulation, expansion of ICT infrastructure, digital economy and innovation, then national guidance. So these 6 strategic focus areas are all aligned to what the ministry is trying to do. And of course, our focus today is on the digital economy and innovation system. This is where the gist of my discussion is. It's why I've been rushing a bit. What we usually ask ourselves in technology is that what is the elephant in the room? There are many issues here. We want to subsidize the sector, as the group CEO has talked about, devices, internet, the services should be subsidized. We want to enforce IP protection. Canary hinted here that he had an idea and he has mentioned on national television. But people want to innovate and know that their ideas are protected. Data protection and privacy. The whole essence of e-governance is based on trust. It is why you'll have low numbers of e-commerce, because I want to know that my money is with me. I want to know that if I place an order, it will be delivered. If I pay for that order, it will be delivered. If I place an order and I say I want cash on delivery, it means I still don't trust that they'll deliver it. So we want to be able to have trust. Fundamentally, I feel we need to democratize ICT. Yes, we have a national ICT innovation hub in Kampala here. Can we decentralize this? Kin talked about having the content hubs in the regions. The government has presidential skilling hubs. 19 of them, 19 zonal presidential skilling hubs. Can we make use of that? Can we leverage that? So that is beyond the Joakali. Yes, I go there and I do my carpentry, I can make shoes, but beyond that, can I leverage technology as well to market what I have been able to make there? BPO, business process outsourcing. I want to thank our researcher, he's also here, Mr. Masit Daniel. He's also here with us. So the committee has a researcher. Dr. Noah, thank you for joining us. So the BPO basically is business process outsourcing. I worked as a BPO associate in 2013 with a company called Technobrain. That's where I started from. So this is an opportunity where the youth can actually use their skills to make use of technologies to get business from offshore. Then we need to operationalize the broadband policy. But I want to focus so much on a bit of AI governance. I believe that is the elephant in the room. And I'm happy to see my former boss, Dr. Torres, who is very key in the AI sphere. AI is something we do not know about. Most people say it is a tool. I don't think it is a tool. A knife is a tool. A knife will not decide to come and cut the onion by itself. AI is an agent. It is an agent. And as you know, agents, they work on the orders of a master. Who owns these platforms? Yes, we are consuming them. Just about 2 days ago, OpenAI gave out their own report that they deployed an agent and it hacked into another system without the instructions. So how much do we know about this AI? If you look at the different sectors, be it education, be it health, be it the legal profession, AI has penetrated very deeply. But who has the remote? I'll take us back to this pigeon here. In terms of resilience, this was the last pigeon from that infantry, from that division. Had it not made it across to the headquarters. The 194, because they went the 550 soldiers, 194 survived because the pigeon was able to make it across. What happens when there's a kill switch? If there's no backup? Because information systems, e-governance is all about resilience. So as we onboard these different devices, as we bring on AI, the new emerging technologies, I pray, government, let us prioritize regulation of AI. Yes, we may not own the technologies, but we can guide our people on how to use it. Right now, a person can write the thesis in one night. Thesis, and he has no clue what it's about, and he goes and presents. AI has the component of being a black box. That if I build a system, I can actually build an application right now within 5 minutes, but I have no clue how to debug, how to troubleshoot. I do not know what has been embedded in the code as a kill switch. Not to scare people, but a request. Let's have a regulation in place. As a committee of parliament, we're ready to support the ministry. As I conclude, there's a line I used there. We must empower every Ugandan to thrive in the digital age. Thriving is different from survival. Yes, I can know how to use my phone, I can use a computer, I can make a call, but what more value can you use? We do not tarmac roads. We don't spend $1 million per kilometer of road for you to come and peddle chicken on the roadside. We spend all that money so that you can use that tarmac road to connect to different services and make good use of that infrastructure. Let us use what government has put in place. Government has spent a lot of money, tons and tons of money. They even have we have the enabling regulations and laws, computer misuse, electronic signatures, and the like. All those laws are in place. The environment is secure, but a place is only as secure as to how you use it. Because the key or a house can only be as secure as the way you keep your key. So I request that it's just about awareness, really. But the platforms are there. Let's use them productively. Let's use them collaboratively. Let's use them productively. I say this for good at my country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ojok, for that presentation and giving us an oversight of what really the Committee on ICT and National Guidance does really do. Another round of applause for Honorable Ojok. The next speaker here, who I will, in the end, of course, request to invite the Honorable Minister, Honorable PS, Dr. Amina Zawede. When I met you in Barcelona, you were telling me about BPO. And shortly after I had left Barcelona attending that digital conference, Uganda was ranked 24th out of 193 countries worldwide in the 2026 Global Outsourcing Talent Index. You don't know what that means for a country like Uganda. In outsourcing talent, people sit here in their bedrooms, do work for international organizations, and in outsourcing that talent, Uganda was ranked in 2026 as the 24th globally, second in the region, behind Kenya, and 7th in Africa. It means that talent is not our problem. And thank you so much, the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, for always championing that. So Honorable Dr. Amina Zawede, I would like to invite you on stage to give your remarks and also go on and invite the Right Honorable Minister for National Guidance and ICT and National Guidance. You're welcome, Dr. Zawede.
Thank you very much. Allow me not to just say all protocol observed, given that where I sit, it is mandated upon me to observe certain protocol. I will observe a few and then go to all protocol observed. The Right Honorable Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Right Honorable Justice Kasule Lumumba, our chairperson for the ICT committee, Honorable Andrew Ojok, all other members of the ICT committee present, all protocol observed. Good morning to you all. I also want to start by thanking Keen Karisa, the CEO of Next Media, for holding this third State of Digital Economy event. It started 3 years ago in 2024, and I've been attending every one of them. Every time we come here, I always, when I'm coming, I'm wondering, what's the next big thing? You call it the next big, what is the next thing we are going to hear from, from this room or from this conference? But we thank you very much for being able to bring together government, private sector, academia, our young people, to be part of the discussions that are going to collectively drive our country to the next level. The speeches that I have listened into have forced me not to follow my speech, but to come here and tell you what government is doing. When we look at the 4 things that we are looking at today, the theme is beyond connectivity, turning access into opportunity. And we are looking at human capital, policy, infrastructure, AI, cybersecurity. All those things except one can be done collectively. But when it comes to policy, that is government. Government gives the direction on where we have to go, and guidance and strategies on how we should be able to realize what we are doing. His Excellency, the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is a visionary leader. And over 10 years ago, he said, and has been saying after that, that Ugandans, young Ugandans can make money online, that there are opportunities that can be got by utilizing the internet. So the first thing the government of Uganda did was to ensure that we lay connectivity, both by government and also encouraging the private sector to come and expand connectivity. Because when we say there are opportunities online, opportunities are not only in Kampala, but they are in Honorable Ojok's constituency. They are in Omoro. They are in every corner of Uganda, because when you talk about the Ugandans today, the 45.9 million Ugandans, they are spread over the country. And with technology, we are not leaving anybody behind. So we must create opportunities for everybody. So what has the government done? I want to the 3 questions that you asked, Keen, when you are giving your presentation, we actually have answers or have made progress to each one of them. On making devices affordable, and I am glad that we have the minister here who will also attest to that and is championing digital transformation. We have engaged different stakeholders. We have come up with a paper, government working together with private sector, a paper to engage and convince government that if we reduce taxes on entry devices, not all, I see some people here on the front line maybe, and the next one could be having those devices that they can afford to pay taxes for. Even if I increase the taxes tenfold, they would be able to pay. But we are saying, let us reduce taxes on entry phones that the young people can afford. Because today, when we are looking at the opportunities online, when we are looking at Next Creator and what we have to do to create employment opportunities, it is the young people. We have seen, Right Honorable Minister, you missed a group of young people here who are presenting their solutions. I was so fascinated by the little rewards. We have grown up and also have raised children with piggy banks. Every time you're just feeding them with money, but they are saying, okay, give us the money, but let it be worked for. Let us be rewarded and so that we can be able to grow up in a disciplined way. And given that we are Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, I think that is where the guidance comes in. That people are getting rewarded. Make your bed, I will give you money. Make make some breakfast, I will give you money. By the time people grow up, they know the meaning of money, that it just doesn't come for free. And given that we have the largest population in that area, that really, those are the solutions that we should be, supporting. But we can only do that if the devices are affordable for those young little children that you saw. On reducing the costs on internet, that is also a conversation that we are having. We know that when we reduce the taxes on devices, we'll have many users and eventually the cost will go down. So we'll strike one bird and it will shoot down all the others. And Right Honorable Minister, that paper is ready. We shall be taking it to cabinet soon, even probably before this quarter ends. That is something that we are promoting and taking strongly as the ministry. And on the TikTok platforms commercializing, the UCC has been engaging. I was waiting for Haruna to mention that. I don't know whether you mentioned it when I went out, but we are engaging with these platforms so that we are able to commercialize these platforms for Uganda. So this journey that we are walking is a journey that is deliberate and purposed to ensuring that with the ATM strategy that we have, leveraging on agriculture, tourism, mineral development, science and technology and innovation, ICT will take us to that tenfold growth strategy. And on the policies that we have developed policies that are going to support us to grow this field. We have a BPO policy in place, the business process outsourcing policy that was approved by cabinet 2 years ago. And after that policy, that is when now we saw the growth of Uganda to come, number 24, like Canary has talked about. It is because we have now a facilitating environment to grow BPO. So government is working. Please clap for us. Then on AI, we are currently concluding our AI strategy that will feed into determining whether we need a law or not a law. So those conversations that we are having. We also have a national data strategy because AI leverages on data. These things we are saying AI without harmonizing and structuring the way we manage data, we will never get it right. So as the Ministry of ICT, we decided that let us structure data first so that when the AI policies or laws come, they find us with a ready ground for us to hit the road running. And with that strategy is ready, but we want to be able to, show the linkage between the data strategy and the AI strategy. And all these are ready by the end of this quarter for you to utilize and consume. And then, of course, on cybersecurity, there's a lot that we are doing, both with NITAU and UCC plus other government agencies in regard to cybersecurity. On the innovation hubs, Honorable Andrew Ojok, we don't only have the AI, the National Innovation Hub in Nakawa, but we have set up hubs in Kabale University, in Soroti University, at Muni University, Busitema. We are working with the private sector players and even the intergovernment agencies, because today we know that we can't achieve the transformation we want to see as ministry alone. We have to work with, we are taking a whole of government approach to doing this. Working with the private sector and development partners, we have been able to set up those hubs and even scale them up. We now have in the pipeline, Lira University Hub is coming out, Mountains of the Moon in Fort Portal, and Gulu. So, and the aim is to ensure that we have presence in all parts of the country. But now we need, of course, Right Honorable Minister, to integrate what these hubs are doing with what the presidential hubs are doing, integrate technology with them so that we see us transform and accelerate this transformation. I will not say much. I will wait for my boss to say the rest. But what I would just like to give some assurance to all of us and maybe words of guidance that we should follow goes by the saying that many hands make make work light, or they make light work. And what does this mean? That turning digital access into real opportunities requires not only government, but it requires the private sector as well. It requires innovators, academia, development partners, the media, because the media, you're the ones going to help us propagate this message to all the young people through the various platforms, TV, radio, and all the digital platforms, for everybody to know that it is our responsibility as Ugandans to work collectively to move to the next level. And I thank you very much, Next Media, for organizing this platform. We are doing a mid-term review of our digital transformation roadmap. It is a 5-year roadmap. We have moved 2.5 years now, and we want to assess. Whenever we come here for the state of digital economy, we are talking about what is happening in the whole ecosystem. But now with this roadmap, we set out as government to lead the direction on the important ingredients for digital transformation. We have infrastructure, digital services, cybersecurity and data protection and privacy, digital skilling, innovation and entrepreneurship. Of course, AI is embedded in all these. When I am skilling people on AI. When I'm doing infrastructure, I'm building infrastructure that can be able to accommodate AI. When I'm doing cybersecurity, I'm creating a safe environment for AI to thrive. So don't think that we are not thinking about AI. We were already foresighted by the time we came up with these pillars. So before the year ends, we'll be able to know how have we progressed and what are we going to do in the next 2.5 years. I thank you very much for listening to me. And I now take this opportunity to invite our Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Right Honorable Justin Kasule Lumumba, our guest of honor, to give her remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, PS. Honorable Andrew Ojok, the chairperson of the committee, members of parliament who are here, permanent secretary, the host, and not only the host, but somebody who, together with the team, took a decision that they must always play an important role on issues to do with what affects their sector, but equally affects the economy. So today we are here, and I've gotten the opportunity to be here because we are discussing what they decided to do in the sector where I am. But equally in other sectors, they've played major roles similar to this, because I've been in this very room for different issues in the different sectors, but bringing together private sector and government is very important. Thank you, and continue. Because as former Minister of General Duties Office of the Prime Minister, if it is to do with the politics, Minister General Duties Office of the Prime Minister is everywhere like UPC, everywhere like other service providers in this country. So he took advantage of that, and I would always be here for whatever is happening in the government. Where he would fail to get a chief guest, I was always available, because I looked at what they were doing as people who are helping us to quicken the process to score in the goal. So please continue and take on all the sectors, because as we talk now, we have the whole of government approach. We are now going to change it because of your activities and others. We shall change it and say the whole of country approach. It is not only big government, it will include government and the non-state actors, and they are part of the non-state actors. So I want to say thank you, and please continue. Because as we discuss this, there's an area where we've not paid a lot of attention, and we've done so much as government taking on little from the private sector, little in terms of numbers, but in terms of impact, we are yet to calculate that, the pathogenic economy. So how do we digitalize the pathogenic economy? Because this is where we shall be able to make money to rescue Uganda, rescue Africa from kneeling with our friends across the oceans for medicine, for all that we require. Yet when they are going to manufacture, most of the ingredients are from Africa. But we don't use that because we have not brought in the sector of digitalizing, because we have not simplified access to funds when it comes to this, so that people are able. We have the human resource, but how we could bring them together on the continent. Still, when they are brought together, funded by the people who we have to go and plead with to be able to sell us medicine, which medicine has its own side effects, yet we have ours here, which has no side effects. That is an area I thought I should bring out because it requires a lot of awareness, especially to the people who are professionals in that area. But as we bring in the component of digitalizing, so that we simplify for everybody and make the world better tomorrow, whether we are around or not, making ourselves significant in the lives of people. So I want once again to thank you for continuing, and please continue, don't give up, because you don't choose. God made it that you will be, and it's the time that you are. So don't run away from responsibility. Continue. It is always challenging because sometimes it's also not easy to access us in the government. When you're from private sector, you're always quicker than us, that I want to recognize. But once we continue working with you, you continue challenging us and we also increase speed. The issue you have raised, I want to begin with that before I go to what I carried to this place. The issue you have raised, very good feedback. And you know, when these discussions would come in meetings or platforms where I am, I would always run very fast and very quick to respond and defend the government with the status quo, because that's my work. And now where I've been brought in ICT and national guidance, I have to guide. That means I have to listen. It's only after listening that you are able to guide. But at the same time, move and work to simplify our main agenda of digital transformation. So digitalizing everything, we started off very well and we are moving very well. But as we move, more challenges are setting in, and we cannot be comfortable in the zone where we are, that we are happy, because we are moving on. So we are measuring our performance against who? Like the president keeps saying, we cannot measure ourselves against fellow dwarfs. We must look for giants. I keep telling people that sometimes when we stand next to certain individuals in this country, let me ease the tension. When I stand next to, one time I stood next to Andrew's father, our leader who passed on. He told me, but Justin, why do you always want to look young? I said, why? He says, now we are taking a picture, people are going to think I'm taking a picture with a young kid. I said, no, that's what is good for us as women. When I went to take a picture one time with the Honorable Yomus and others, then they posted it. Somebody posted to him, why do you make your daughter sit in front? So that made me understand that, you know, I understood the issue of when you are measuring your performance, don't measure yourself compared to somebody of your height. Go for stand near the giant and look and say, how do I get there? So technology simplifies it. by bringing us on level 1. But how do you pull the giant? By working. So when you talk of tax on gadgets and tax on internet, I think it should be the easiest thing for us to discuss with the Minister of Finance, because those are economists who understand economies of scale, that once you bring more users, once you simplify, you reduce on taxes, you have simplified access. And once you have simplified access, the numbers go up. So that means we shall be able to enjoy economies of scale. So where are we failing in explaining this? In the rooms where we are discussing taxes, what are we not explaining properly? Yet they are putting in money for us to go for the last mile. We are now pausing, we have increased, we are now working under NITAU, increasing about over 5,000 kilometers. But as we increase, where are we failing to explain that? Are we able to calculate the outcome? What is the impact in the community? What is denying government to be so impactful on this? It is an issue of taxes on the gadgets and on the internet. So why don't we explain that well? I think, PS, these are the issues we should discuss when we come here. Let's tell them what we have done. We have labored to explain, then they ask, how did you explain? Maybe we may be using the IT language without using the language of the economists. So can we combine the two? Because we all went to the same school, same teachers, and find solutions to this. So where is the problem? Let's now begin explaining the economies of scale. And economies of scale, as we explain it on issues of gadgets, but also on the issues of the taxes on internet, we should also now look at the whole of government, the whole of the country, because when we are explaining now what concerns us as ICT. But we cannot succeed without energy. We cannot succeed without energy. So as we explained that we now the talk these days is about AI. When I was made minister, when I was appointed minister for ICT, everybody who calls, I'm an expert on AI, can I help you? I'm an expert on AI, can I help you? But when they come to explain, only one person was able to tell me that if we are to succeed with this, we must also invest in energy. Because for us to have data stored in a safer place, we must have energy that the data will consume. So how do we convince government to put money, even in the other sectors, that help us, that are part of our infrastructure? So we must have a whole of government approach for us to be able to succeed, but also knowing the best language to use. So when you talk of still the issue of monetizing TikTok and X, Instagram and whatnot, let's get the proper language. Can we have some calculations? Because that's the language people understand. But we should also understand that as we say government should remove the taxes, government should monetize this, can we calculate and say, agree that we move this way? You reduce this, we shall be able to achieve this, but you'll also be able to achieve this, so that we set targets and a work plan for us to follow together, government and private sector, and we succeed in this because we are in it together. So the issue of monetizing these different platforms to make our people be able to earn money, we should work along that, but also having it in mind that how do we get a solution, PS, that will be able to, this for information that is useful to our people, and information that will be able to not to compromise our values, our national values that are in the Constitution, our cultural values, and our religious values. We need solutions, because there are those who are saying, let's switch off TikTok. And they are saying it has really opened us up and it has left us naked. We have no values. And if these are the leaders who are saying of the different sectors, so how do we protect the children, these young people you brought, so that they remain and have and practice our virtues, but at the same time earn from it? The solution is with us here and those who are online. It is with you, the professionals. So, but also we must also work as government, especially PS. We must work to make sure if somebody brings an idea, it's promoted, and we help that person also earn from that idea, instead of all the time promoting people from out. Those who are bringing solutions, majority of them are coming from out. They come with their money and invest here, and they bring systems and earn money from whatever services they are giving to us or offering us. But at a cost, which money is carried out of the country. We have professionals here. So I would think we now have to think beyond the way we've been thinking. If the president, if government, if cabinet is approving money to be given to individuals in the sector of medicine, in the sector of manufacturing, let's also come up with proposals where we also task government to fund a group of investors in this country so that they get money at a low cost to be able to invest in systems that will be able to help us generate money, find solutions to the challenges at hand, but also at the same time generate money that will remain in Uganda to build Uganda. And you are so, even in that you don't want to clap loudest. Because I'm not a professional, but I'm now advising you that we can use these platforms and bring the leaders on table and have a discussion. The way you are giving money, $200 million US, $100 million US, $75 million US to somebody who is adding value to one of our agricultural products, to somebody who is going to invest in medicine, to somebody who is going to invest in agriculture to increase productivity. You are also agriculture, because if you are supported, your productivity will go up and you will be offering solutions to the challenges in this country, the challenges to individuals, the way the others do. But we are not positioning ourselves to that. From today, we should begin thinking about that. And when I was told we have researchers here, we have the service providers, so meaning we have the right people to carry that message. Don't work alone. When you work in groups, it is easy. For us politicians, we always want to talk to people who are more than one. Unless it is intelligence, that's when you want to talk to one person. So if you come up as a team of researchers and you have a solution, please do. Don't hesitate. Come, we have for discussion and we take it to a higher level so that we find solutions and you'll help us keep our money here. Because now what is happening is what locally you people call that you get some Ugandans who are kadede, they go and get people who have the solution outside the country. Most times beyond the oceans, they come and invest money and carry back money, and not simple money. Your solutions are very expensive. But why don't we do it here? So, as you think we have the solutions, we are in it together and we must move together. But you are supposed to move ahead of us, especially the professionals, to find this. So as we move in this AI era, how are we positioning ourselves? How are you positioning yourselves as private sector? What do you offer to government? Because in developing countries, it's government that has money. The private sector doesn't have money. If they have money, they get it from government by offering services. So why don't you also position yourselves as private sector and come and get money from government by offering solutions? So I want to say you have the solutions. So under this AI, Our biggest baby, we are announcing his parish development model. How have you brought it in? Yes, the Minister of ICT brought the solution of how to ease money to the beneficiary in the village. When he's even in the garden or is sleeping, money is on the phone tap. Now that is one solution. But look at the whole of this, because now attention is there. How do you take advantage of that? So we'll be able to create jobs if we begin thinking that way. Now AI, we have a problem. Acarizites on the market are not the best quality. We have a problem. The quality of the milk in some cases is not good. The quality of the meat where you are going to buy is not safe, is not good. I don't want to say this because we are online, and for diplomatic issues also, I have to be very careful, but also on issues to do with the market. But what solutions are you bringing so that we have the AI to find solutions to the challenges of this program? I would expect that at the end of this, we should have a team coming up. Yes, AI, yes, 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 yes. We have to translate to our local languages so that the majority of people who don't understand English are able to find solutions by carrying this smartphone. Government, if we offer solution, government can buy a smartphone per village for you to see one, so that today we are in your garden to take a picture. Assuming it's maize, I come from a maize growing community. The AI will tell us there is the armyworm in this maize. Then you ask it in your local language, in Rusoga. Obulezi buliga. Direct translation, where is the medicine? Then it tells you it is on the Kalisa Street. That's where you'll find it. Shop this. You go there and even take a picture of that. And the AI would say, no, this is good, but this one, what is missing is this. The content or the quality, the ingredients, this one is missing. But you can try Sandy Sauce Shop, Shop 8. Then you go. When you go and now take a picture, AI will tell you, yes, in the vernacular, in our local language, often you have now gotten the right one. But then you ask, how do I apply it? Then it tells you that please go and mix in a 20-liter jerrycan this quantity. And spray in the evening, don't spray in the morning. But it is telling this person in the local language. That's how China has been able to succeed in this. China has basically like more of 2-3 directs. Big as it is, for us we have more than 52. That means the data center must also be heavy and must consume a lot of power for us to be able to translate and have this accommodated. Offer solutions, but you can. Because if you have been able to do all of that we have, the e-docs, e-procurement, IFMIS, haven't we learned from those? So if it is an issue that there is something missing in our curriculum, let it also be addressed so that when you leave university, you are able to offer solutions even to the challenges that are facing your family using the digital era. Before you help us fit in it, you yourselves must fit in it as professionals. Stop hanging on top of your profession. Stop keeping wafa, because what you studied is meant to offer solutions. So, the issue of sensitization, we're always talking about sensitization, going to radio and TV. Help us using the new technology in this era. The song is now AI, to help the community be sensitized on what we require. If it means even getting to the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, that under adult functional literacy, let's now put much efforts under UCC to make sure our adults also get to this. When you have found a solution, it will require also changing even the way government does things. But where are we in this? So it's no longer a blame game, it is partnership. We have to move together to find solutions to today and tomorrow. I want to thank you for bringing these young kids who have told, the PS has told me, they demonstrated how we should stop giving them things for free. They have to first work for it. But that is very good, but we have to be very careful. Because when one says that, to give me money, I should first wash the cups or make my bed. When that one gets beyond childhood and now has to be paid to make the bed, there's the ambiguity with it also must be looked at before we take it further. Because what you put in a kid may shelve it in the head, but when the time comes, we'll bring it out. That would cause problems to national guidance. And yet we are one ministry. So let's all work on reducing taxes on the gadgets, but at the same time, reducing the tax also on internet, but also use the right language to create economies of scale. So it will create economies of scale in terms of jobs, but also in terms of using the electricity, so there will be no surplus electricity because consumption will be up. So let me now go on the issue that you brought out, that fits in today's theme. So we as government, we are now saying that if one is using mobile money, which has grown from 9% over the past year, and the cost of internet is continuing to fall, how do we make even that person who is doing the mobile money business safer? How do we do it? Can we stop paper money and have money on the phone? With AI, money should be on the phone. I should be able to command money on the phone in the village so that it goes to that person in the local language. It can be done. And it is now a security issue, safety of the users of the service. Then when we are talking about a smartphone, you're not earning. And for us, politicians, we have learned to use the smartphone to send our political messages, whether NRM or those competing with NRM. Now make us teach people that instead of using it for politics, let's now use it to earn. So AI should simplify that even the illiterate should be able to earn and increase productivity. So when the government speaks of turning access into opportunity, we mean practical outcomes in people's lives. The issue of jobs and income we have talked about, but also the enterprise. The market vendor whose mobile money record becomes a credit history, and the credit history should become working capital. That should also be used in banks as collateral so that somebody can use that against that to be able to access loans. But how do we do it? We must work together as government and private sector. So a farmer receiving extension services or advice should also be digitalized. A mother booking an antenatal visit should be digitalized. And a tender clearing goods, or a trader who is clearing goods, or somebody applying for a tender, the one of the tender we have simplified, but somebody clearing goods, it is now the trader is at the mercy. The trader is at the mercy of the clearing agent. The agent goes to URA, they calculate, and says, you see, they've sent so much, this person even can't verify. And then they are very bitter with us that we are overcharging them simply because of what is missing is digitalization between the trader and URA. And that will even eliminate those who are in between, who are exploiting the trader, especially the small traders. So there is also the issue of trust. Citizens' confidence that is going on online will increase confidence in us as government, in you as the service provider, but also even confidence in the person who is using the service. So measured against those outcomes, our task is unfinished. We are here to stay and exist so that we find solutions together with you as we only give leadership. So we should not criticize anybody. This is not a room for criticizing, but it's a room to find solutions and continue working together. And you simplify our side, we simplify your side by getting feedback, especially through such platforms. So what is government doing? So under Development Plan 4, we have the Digital Transformation Program. And this one is including everybody. As we talk now, we are working, some local governments have been enrolled, about to 53, and we are now looking at increasing, bringing more 63 on board. But we shall continue going down to make sure we digitalize most of the government services to be able to solve the challenges that you know very well, challenges of accountability, traceability, but also challenges to do with the corruption. So on issues to do with the affordability and the last mile access, through UDAP, that is the Uganda Digital Acceleration Project, we are extending connectivity and placing digital equipment directly in schools, universities, and innovation spaces. Because access that stops at the district headquarters is access in name, but not meaningful to the most important person who we are supposed to serve. We're also working with the Uganda Communication Commission on quality of service. He explained here, but he left out the issue of quality of service. I think in the discussion it will come up, because sometimes the complaints, when the quality is not good, people lose confidence in us. Issues of fair bidding and also the declining cost or falling cost of data. Because of the cheapest gigabyte in the region should be our ambition, not our excuse as government. On issues to do with skilling, we launched the National Tech Skills Talent Program, which runs until 2035. Its purpose is direct: close the ICT skills gap, reduce our reliance on external expertise, create structured pathways from training into employment and enterprise. Devices without skills produce consumers, and devices with skills produce producers. And Uganda intends to have producers, so that you're a producer, but also an employer. On issues to do with data, the ministry is finalizing a national data strategy to guide and govern how this country collects, protects, and uses data for decision-making, in innovation, and service delivery. Data is now an economic asset in its own right, and we intend to treat it as such, with safeguards that our citizens deserve and all users. So when we talk about the creator economy, that one we have discussed and talked much about it, the different platforms, but I want to ask people in this room and those online, government cannot turn access into opportunity alone. It should not be something to try. We should be specific, and this is what I'm asking. How do we do it? To the operators and device makers, the next 10 million users will come from the bottom of the market. bring us device financing, cheaper entry-level smartphones, and tariffs that a border rider can sustain. That if somebody in the remotest village in the Wondibujo can sustain. The business case for rural Uganda is real. We go and build it together. To the innovators and developers, build for Ugandan problems in Ugandan language at Ugandan price points. The government procurement door is open to local solutions that work, and my ministry will keep pushing to widen it. But even it will also widen itself. The more success you register, the challenges set in. So you must find solutions to the challenge, and we must work together. So to next media and the press, keep convening such discussions, keep informing the public, and keep holding all of us, government included, to the commitments we make on stages like this. That is what turning information into national value looks like. Conclusion. Uganda has built the roads of the digital economy. The question this conference asks is whether our people are traveling on them and where those roads lead. I want us to meet at SODE 2027, the very platform, and measure ourselves not by coverage maps or subscription accounts or number of telephones in the country or gadgets in the country, but by incomes and businesses financed and services delivered. With those remarks, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Uganda, to declare the third annual State of the Digital Economic Conference officially opened for God and my country.
Okay, so at this moment, I'd like us to have a photo moment with the guests at the front. Mr. Musi.
Just a second. Another area where you need to focus more as specialists in it is the minerals sector. Kalisa, Kin, another area where we should focus, you professionals, is the minerals sector. It is a sector, Uganda is so endowed, but we are still doing most of the things in our own style, which style you know. But we need to digitalize so that we simplify, and that's when we shall also attract more investors, but also be able to form partnerships with it, because it requires a lot of capital. But very few people are looking that side, especially in your profession.
And can we also have our conference partners getting ready for the photo moment after this?
I'm sorry, coming back. My PS is telling me, she has reminded me about the National Cleaning Days. Members in Kampala alone, we are generating 2,500 tons. And then between 50 and 60 is collected safely, meaning leaving the other ones unattended to. And that's why sometimes we have flooding in Kampala, of course, combined with the issues to do with the environment. So government took a decision that we must have a National Cleaning Day. That is the last Saturday of the month. So we are launching that tomorrow, beginning 7 to 10. So stay in the community where you are and clean. The LOC1 chairperson is going to show you where you are going to clean. Yes, whether you clean the well or the borehole or the market, but from next month, the Friday before, the last Friday, let me say the last Friday of the month will be for cleaning markets. Because if you realize markets, when it comes to this, they are the worst. But that's where we go to buy food. That's where we go. So it will help us to be able to bring down some of these diseases like typhoid. Even malaria, the stagnant water also causes us challenges. You have seen how we are losing young people to this. So let's all work together. No political lines in this. We are all the same, because when mosquitoes come and typhoid comes, it comes for anybody, whatever political color you belong to, whatever religion. We are launching it tomorrow in Chisenyi, but nobody is going to be allowed to move except those with essential services. You are going to stay where you stay. Essential services. So those are done by essential workers. So you will not be allowed to move. Stay in your community and clean. Then the roads will be opened at 10.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your remarks. Picture moment. We would also request you that after here, we take you through some of the innovations that are at the expo. Thank you very much. Partners and sponsors, kindly come to the stage for a picture moment. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. You're going to take you through the expo. Yes. Meanwhile, as we talk about this, we have an AI hackathon happening live. If you look at the booths on the left and the right, those young people are coding in real time. Thank you very much. Yes. This is the State of Digital Economy 2026. We're still going on. Please don't leave the room because we have more presentations coming on. All right, I see. I'd like that QR code for pictures to be put on the screen so we can be able to download and post something. Hashtag SODE 2026. Hashtag SODE 2026. We thank all our sponsors and partners that have made this happen. UCC, Ministry of ICT, Research and Education Network for Uganda, Defenders Protection Initiative, Startup Uganda, Collaborate, Milima Security, FinCom, NITA Uganda, Refactory, NSSF, Brighter Monday, Google Developers Group, Vision Africa, and of course, Nextcom. Angel?
All right, thank you very much. And as we transition into the next sessions where we're going to have presentations, like Canary shared, we have a live hackathon happening with a couple of developers. So the booths that you see on the left and the right are developers under Refactory, and they're building apps. They were given an impromptu problem this morning before we started, and they will be sharing what they've been able to do as we go on with our program this afternoon. It's exactly midday, a few minutes to midday, 1 minute to midday. And I'm going to share on the verticals that we hope to address not just on this conference, but in the work that we go to do outside. So we have policy, and that is why it was important to have representation from government. And we've listened to the government perspectives, the National Development Plan, the priorities that are being taken into consideration at such a macro level. But we also want to consider infrastructure. That's the second vertical that informs this conference. Artificial intelligence, which we've talked about, cybersecurity, and human capital. So those are the five verticals that inform the State of the Digital Economy Conference, SODE 2026. Thank you.
All right, where is St. Catherine Primary School? We're impressed by your presentations earlier on. I understand that you have a pitch, Little Heroes, presenting your mobile application, showcasing Ugandan talent, cement. Would like to hear more about your product. Understand, where is your CEO? Where's the CEO of St. Catherine Primary School? I need to have a conversation with her. Okay. The CEO has left the room with the other CEOs, eh? All right. Imara Girls. Imara Girls, kindly come on stage. Let's have your live pitch. Imara Girls. Please pick the microphones on your way. So who is helping you develop this particular solution? Okay, that's nice. Thank you very much, Nextcom, for helping the girls get on these stages. I request that you come a little bit forward so you can do your live pitch. Okay. Take that back, take that video back. Okay, you can come and stand on the side. We'll let the video play and then you can do your live pitch. Producer, take that video back.
Okay, we can have the sound off and have Imara Girls do their live pitch. You can come a little closer.
Somewhere in Uganda, there is an 87-year-old grandmother who is telling stories she has told for decades, proverbs, folk tales, and lifetime wisdom. On TikTok, the same people are earning, there are people who are earning income through the same content every single day. But she cannot see a single shilling in her hands through her content. My name is Hannah, and with Esther and Rahuma, we are the Imara Girls.
Here is a scale of what we are talking about. The United Nations Department of Economic and Social Development estimates that Africa's population aged 60 and above will soon rise to over 235 million by 2050, while the World Health Organization estimates that 16% of the world population lives with a disability. These are not small, forgettable groups. Did you know that across our continent, there are many people with the knowledge, talents, and lived experiences, but almost none of it is in the digital economy? Meanwhile, that economy is exploding. Africa has now over 570 million internet users, and globally, we have over $240 million internet users, and Goldman Sachs estimates that it will soon rise to over $480 million internet users. Elderly people and persons with disabilities remain largely excluded from economic opportunities, not because they lack the knowledge, talent, and lived experiences, but because they face barriers such as limited mobility, low digital literacy, and lack of access to income streams.
That's the gap Talent Bridge was built to close. Talent Bridge is a digital platform that bridges the gap between offline talents and online income. We help elderly individuals and persons with disabilities to turn their stories, skills, and income into sustainable income in platforms like TikTok. We do not ask them to become tech experts, but we bring technology to help their talents do what is always done.
This is how our app works. First, we identify onboard talent through churches, community centers, mosques, and disability associations. Second, a trained youth assistant works along with an elderly person to film, to station, and to post their talent on the internet.
Here is what makes us different. Most digital inclusions stop on the digital literacy, but we go further. We turn the skills into income. We are not asking elderly people and persons with disabilities to compete with 22-year-olds who are chasing trends, but we create for them their own lane that can help them create income in a special way. Because we give each participant a young content assistant that helps us to develop 2 groups using 1 digital app.
Our ask is, we are seeking to find partnership and pilot funding to find the first 100 elderly individuals and persons with disabilities.
As participants grow audiences, they also become moving advertisements.
570 million internet users, $480 million internet users by 2030. Those numbers should not be separate.
Africa is not short of talent, it is short of doors.
Talent Bridge was built to turn offline skills to online income. We are the Imara Girls.
This is Talent Bridge.
Turn your skills into income.
Because every voice,
no matter its age
or ability,
deserves to be heard and paid.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, the Imara Girls. Can we have another round of applause for them? I think it's quite interesting that we have young people planning for the elderly. And a few weeks ago, on July 11th, we had World Population Day. And we recognize that Uganda has a very huge dependence burden, both from the young people, but also from the elderly. So I think this is not only symbolic of national priorities, but also the digital economy and the opportunities that lie within the digital economy. So Kanari, we have coders that have been at it since morning. I think it's time we listen to them. Sound. So we're going to go around the room and
Yeah. Let's just quickly just take a look at what the coders are doing. And I would like to know what kind of solution you're trying to solve. Just within a minute, just let us in on what you're trying to do. I know you're busy coding, but I'm sure you can communicate too.
Hi, everyone. We are building a platform for learners or youth, the youth who they have done their education, they have finished schooling, or they are outside looking for work, but they cannot find it. So our platform is able to provide the learning part, and then you are able to connect into work immediately after you have learned.
Right, so this is like a mobile application, and you want to mention its name?
It's called Skillproof UG or Uganda.
Right, so once I download the application, I get onto it, create an account, and then I'm able to connect. So you're like the link, right? If I'm looking for an opportunity. Okay, that's interesting. I'm looking forward to see how that is going to look like. Hi, guys. So what solution are you trying to solve here? Just real quick.
We are building a solution for the public to be able to report community issues and service delivery within their communities. For instance, poor service delivery. And we are also making sure that the system can allow government officials be able to track service delivery down to local government entities and know the progress of given projects within the local government, and also for residents to be able to actually reach out to like their ministers and be able to report a situation that has not been handled, probably a road has not been constructed well, such things.
So the end user is the citizen, right? And the one receiving feedback is government. Okay. So the interaction between government and citizen in terms of feedback on social services. All right. I have something to report around Nigeria. When you're done, just let me know. All right. What are the other coders? All right. Just speak to us. What kind of solution are you trying to solve, and how are you doing that?
So we are solving. So we're solving for digital and policy governance. We are trying to model and build public delivery around the citizen and community, because I believe the person makes a good. So by doing so, we are able to connect with the individual on the surface level, build around their issues and problems, and create and have metrics for them that the people from headquarters can be able to model and have funds for that specific need. Say welfare, disability, because it affects different regions differently. So that's what we're building around.
Is this for government entirely, or whatever cause it is, you're able to pull funds? Okay, that's quite interesting. Thank you very much. Any coders here? Do you guys want to tell us what you're doing and what you're trying to solve?
Very good morning to everyone. It's Gaston. And this is Yuga Haki team. So for us, we are building Yuga Hack AI. It's a platform. We are trying to sort of our platform. A user asks question about health, then or about agriculture, and gets feedback. Then our unique features It's integrated, let's say SMS. And another thing, it can be used offline. A farmer can upload, let's say, a sick or affected leaf of a plant and gets diagnosis in real time. Then another thing, it works with USSD, let's say *310, and you get a reply instantly. You get data updates on trends. Then when you think that our AI is trained on our local data, Ugandan data sets, so that's why it's very good and interesting.
All right, well done to the teams, and thank you, Factory, for supporting these teams. Angel, you ever used wet wipes?
Yes, I
Yeah?
have.
You know how you pull one and one comes up?
Mm.
Can someone hack a solution like that for ATMs?
Really?
You withdraw money.
Oh, direct.
You guys are solving problems with social services. We know where the problem is, the money. All right, so Angel, what next on the program?
We have another pitch. We listen to the Imara girls, and up next we will have the Baraka girls having their live pitch. The Baraka girls, the floor is yours. Let's give these brave young women a round of applause, young ladies, as they come up here.
Good afternoon. Somewhere in Uganda right now, a young person has a business idea, a poetry project, a tailoring shop, name it. They know exactly what to do, but it will never start. Not because their idea is bad, but because they believe they need millions of shillings and a bank loan to start it. My name is Ayebale Purity, and alongside I have Daniela and Kemigisha Rita. We are the Baraka Girls, and we are here to prove that belief wrong.
Let's look at the numbers according to Uganda's 2024 census. Youth unemployment stands at 16.1%. Among 18 to 30 years old are left behind. We are addressing a common challenge. Many people have great business ideas but struggle to find investors. While investors are constantly looking for promising opportunities but often not know where to find them.
Is exactly what Microinvest was built to solve. It connects young entrepreneurs who have small business ideas that only need $100 to $500 to start with everyday local investors, aunties, uncles, working professionals, and many others who have never called themselves investors in their lives. Instead of one big loan from one big bank, an investor can at least commit 100,000 Uganda shillings.
Here is how it actually runs. A young entrepreneur submits a clear business pitch video through our app or WhatsApp app. No complicated business plan is required. Our team invests the idea. It goes live for investors to fund individually or as a group. And every idea is backed up with a simple, transparent agreement.
Our solution is a platform that connects innovators with investors in a simple, secure, transparent way.
So here is our ask. We are seeking for a seed partnership of insert amounts that can build and launch the Microinvest pilot in their communities. On board, our first low invest young youth entrepreneur and who ran our first mentorship program for the first 6 months. We are also asking for strategic partners, circles, savings, and financial institutions who can help us reach investors
who have already started saving but have never got a safe place to invest in their own neighborhood. It isn't charity, it's a returns generating system that pays investors back while building an economy for the Uganda's ground up.
Our rollouts are small and trusted. We launch through village saving groups, churches, schools, places which are already trusted.
Our goal is a platform between a gap that reduces great ideas, funding needed to bring them back to life. By making connections easier to help investors to come back, we will use WhatsApp broadcasts, radio spots, and we will be here in our saving groups and the people who raised us.
Uganda does not have a shortage of ideas, it has a shortage of connection.
Word of mouth is our biggest engine. If the investor sees that their partnership is growing and expanding, he or she will go and inform his or her saving group. And if an innovator succeeds in their partnership, the neighborhood will notice. Uganda, we are just helping our country to bridge the gap between innovators and investors.
Let's
Give a little resources. Let's give a little idea a chance to shine. Strong and unified, we are the Baraka Girls.
Thank you, Baraka Girls. And we need a louder round of applause for them. I think it's commendable to be so young and so innovative, but also to have the courage to come up here and speak. So we appreciate you, St. Catherine's Primary School, and the different teams that have come to pitch. So we've been talking about partners, and one of the partners we mentioned was Refactory. And right now I'd like to call upon Michael Nitegeka, the Executive Director of Refactory, to share on the human edge, building talent that powers Africa's AI economy. Mr. Nitegeka, you are welcome.
Good afternoon. Okay, I don't know that is the energy that is this side or that side. Good afternoon. How are we? How are we? That's much better. Okay, so I'm here to share with us on what I believe is something that we should pay attention to if we're going to build the next AI critical infrastructure. And I'd like to start from a story. And the story is to say the belief that I have, and many of us have, is that if we're going to build and tap into the AI economy right now, our greatest value proposition is going to be the human capital. It will not be in the next 5 years for us to have data centers that are powered like we have, let's say, in Silicon Valley. It won't happen in our country, in our region. But the greatest resource we have is what? The human what? Capital. I want to get it engaging. We've listened quite a lot from everyone else. It's been kind of a monologue, but let me try and see if I can become the teacher that I am. And so I'm here to pitch and also share with you and say we need to have the human edge. And that human edge is going to get us where we are supposed to be. Okay, I just hope this. Okay, so I start with the story of a young man who in 2008 watched a movie, and that movie fascinated him. It just didn't entertain him, it got him convinced. Now, in order to do that, okay, looks like I'm Is there someone who's controlling, or I'm in charge? Okay. So that movie got him thinking about the technology and everything that is possible with that particular technology, and he could be able to create. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to share with you a story of a young man that did everything that he could do. Went to school, got a degree, but in doing so, he realized there was something else that needed to happen. Declan went for an interview, and after that interview, he was told, we see the energy, we see the passion, but here's what we want to propose to you. We'd like to recommend you to go to Refactory, and then after that, come back to us. He walked right from Bugolobi and came to Mienga, right in our office in 2019. Declan did an interview, applied, and was admitted into our program. And I'm here to share with you that Declan moved on and was able to acquire the skills. Now, here's the message that, and I'd hope this message would be for the decision makers here, for the policy makers, that the young people are not just waiting, they are ready. They're just looking for the opportunity to ensure that they get what enables them. And they're waiting for the door to open. Now, what does this mean? The summary that I have for you is that Declan right now is working at Durham College AI Hub in Canada, but that was only possible after his software engineering, computer science degree. He came to Refactory, was able to do software engineering, and did a couple of other programs with us, 9 months with us. As we speak, he's an AI research associate at Durham College. But besides that, Declan is also an AI machine learning facilitator at Refactory because we believe in the competence that he has. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm sharing with us is that to enable the human capital, it is important for us to have the degrees. It's important for us people to go for masters. But the truth is, the AI revolution is running way faster, and it can't wait for 4 years for you to go to university. So what must we do? And that's what Refactory is doing. Refactory is offering what we call micro-credentials that enable you to acquire skills now and apply them today. The only thing we do is we give you skills. No exams, no anything. And because of that, we've had over 3,400, over 3,500 young people going to work, come through our programs. And of that, 70% have been able to find work. What does that mean? The world is in a race, and it's an AI race. And it's not waiting for us. Every day, something else is coming through. Every day, you hear Claude has released a new model, has released a new version. And that means that there is no standard curricula within our education system that can compete from an education perspective. Why? Because even according to the national regulations, you need 5 years before curricula is reviewed. So let's pause for a moment. 5 years. What will have happened in 5 years? So for those of us who are in the room, the real question is not, will AI take jobs or create them? Who will be in the room when those decisions are made? And that's why sometimes when I hear the conversations around some of these policy makers and the things they talk about, I'm like, I think sometimes we need to come a little bit down. The grand stuff is important, but for us to enable the Declans to be able to move out of this country or even stay in this country is going to require much more than just pronouncements. It's going to require us to become very intentional to build talent that is ready for today. As I go on, Africa has an advantage, and everybody talks about what? We have a young population. True or not true? And what do we call it? We call it what dividend? The demographic dividend, implying that we have a population that is way younger than any other part of the world. And because of that, it is a dividend. Not exactly, until we're able to invest in that demography to make them applicable to the rest of the world for it to become a dividend. Otherwise, it remains a loss and a risk to society. And so, what are we saying? That one in every 4 people alive in 2050 will be African. Just look at that. So the question is, what will we be doing? Shall we be still consumers or shall we be investors? 2050, by grace of God, I'll probably be around, but I may not have the same energy. But you will have the energy to do some of the things. Friends, as I bring this to a close, what does this mean? Let's look at the numbers. We're saying over 600 million are below the age of 25 on the African continent. But we're also saying by 2030, about $1.5 trillion will be added to Africa's GDP. And this will largely be driven by AI and the technologies associated with it. The key word here is that it will be added. The question is, will you be a contributor? Or will you be a consumer? And by paying, that's how you're adding. The two are different. Now, where's the opportunity for us? That the infrastructure of AI's era is being built right now. And it's not by us, it will be built without us. You probably saw the headline in Kenya where they decided they're not going to invest in the data center. Why? Because of the power required. They said, wait, if this is the amount of power you need, we're going to have significant blackouts for the other citizens if this is going to take place here. So Kenya decided to pause. But we were excited that we're going to have massive data center located close to us. It's one thing for us to pronounce it. It's another thing to realize it. Friends, what does this mean? That the human capital from the African perspective is the infrastructure that we need. And here's the reason. We can't import it. But I was recently told, a few years ago I was told, that software is the only produce that does not require cargo to move. Can I say it again? Software is the only export that does not require cargo to move. So as we're talking about entry-level smartphones, I'm actually saying, can we have laptops? Because entry-level smartphones are for Masapi. They're not productive tools. I know from a political perspective, you want to have entry-level smartphones. But from a decision productive perspective, my young people that I'm working with are struggling with access to good devices. Not smartphones, good devices. And the devices are laptops. 2, do we have anyone who understands what we are buying? I saw somebody saying on X that those of us who are subscribing to AI, Gen AI platforms like Claude, we had better be ready with our bank accounts because those tokens are running like a problem. So very soon you realize that what was supposed to be an enabler is actually taking money. So if you're just there to ask simple questions and it is consuming your tokens, you're going to come back to us and say, AI is making us poor. So we need to reflect deeply on what this actually means. But it goes back to what capabilities do we possess? Third is the human edge. That we need to translate between AI and human needs is the most demand skill right now in the economy. If you go to NSSF, if you go to all these entities, you can be sure at every level there is an opportunity for AI integration. But what competences do people have? Friends, the demographic advantage has an expiry date. Right now we have a demographic advantage, not so, but it won't be here for long. And until we're able to utilize it and maximize it, shall we come back and say there was value? And what that means, that the people that are right now in school and are finishing school must be equipped for now, not the future. Sometimes I'm amazed at how in many meetings we are saying AI is the future, and I'm like, wait. It happened 10 years ago. We're just playing what? Catch up. I like what the PS said. Unless we get data harmonized in this country, AI, we're going to be excited with Claude, Power BI, but getting the real stuff out of it is going to be a big challenge. But you see, I talked about Declan, who is in Canada. Sarah, over here, stand up. Sarah did economics. Sarah joined our programs. Sarah is now working at Refactory as a data analyst. What are we trying to say? That you don't need to study computer science. Sorry, I can say. You don't need to study computer science. You don't need to study IT for you to acquire these skills and apply them. If we're going to be part of the AI economy. Finally, you can talk to Sarah, you can engage Declan on LinkedIn. The one thing that is common is that they decided to break their own barriers, because Sarah, as a student of economics, could have said, software is not my piece. Sarah now is building models for Refactory. And there are many other Sarahs that are in this room that are yet to be unleashed into the world of work. So here's what I'm asking. The decision makers who are watching and those who are here, who are here with us, it is important that we deliberately invest in our talent. And I say this again, deliberately invest. A Refactory will probably not get funding from government because we are not degree, we are not diploma. The things we are doing are juakali. But I can tell you, in my juakaliness, we've been able to see people getting to work. And they are hired by companies not just here, but out of here. And this is what I've also learned. They don't care what you've studied at university. They don't. To you, who are the young ones here, you are not behind. But you're also not too late. You can start now. Refactory runs a job board, and I was checking this morning. Of the 500 jobs that are currently active on our job board, over 100 have an AI aspect. And it goes from AI who are training bots. It goes to those who are building AI agents. It goes to those who are doing quality assurance, that are the agents doing what they're supposed to be doing. So if you're an English expert, there is work for you. But you need to have the fundamentals for you to be able to contribute. Finally, Africa is full of the Sarahs, the Declans, full, available. The only difference is that whether we will build an infrastructure to get them there. Because we need to open the doors for the Sarahs, for the Declans, for the Susans, for the Juliuses that are in this continent, that are on this continent, and are only excited by the capability of cloud and Google. What is the Google one? There's so many. Gemini, which is the other one that you use? ChatGPT, which other one? And a lot of us are extremely excited that, hey, my presentation is ready in 5 minutes, but you have no idea what that presentation is capable or how it was generated. Why? Because we've seen very many of them come to present and you ask them, so, okay, give me a little bit more context to your presentation. They can't proceed. We've seen many that have come to us with code that is running, and then you ask them, okay, help me understand what was the logic behind this. And they look at you and say, this is one thing I learned about Ugandans. When they have no answer, they smile. Ladies and gentlemen, if Declan had not walked from his interview and walked straight to Muyenga to sit in our office, and I remember him vividly. He had dreads, sat right in the office, applied, and right after that he said, what next? I'm ready to start. And while there, he said, I think I want to work for Stanbic Bank. And before he went to Canada, he was in the data part of Stanbic Bank. What am I saying? He came back, he teaches now, he builds now, he leads now. We need more of those if we are going to be at the forefront. I want to thank you that you've listened to me, but most importantly, I hope there's one or two things that you're taking away with you. The AI economy is not going to be about pronouncements. The AI economy is going to require us to work now, invest now, and our best infrastructure in Africa is us, not the servers. I thank you.
That is what we call a mic drop, like mic drop. Thank you, Michael, for that passionate presentation. What I have taken away is that it is not enough to fight for a seat at the table. We are capable of being let into the kitchen as Africans. And I think it's important to hear that and receive that as Africans in this AI discourse. Because with tech, for the longest time, we've been told we are behind, right? And here's people like Michael and also the speakers before him letting us know that the talent in Africa is our competitive advantage. So thank you very much, Michael. And we have another keynote, our last keynote before we head over for lunch from NITA Uganda. And allow me invite Johnson Tumusime, the Manager, Governance and Risk, to talk about compliance and hacking and all of those interesting things. You're welcome. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a tricky start being the man standing between you and lunch, but I'll try to move as fast as I can. So a very good afternoon to you all. My name is Johnson Tumusime, working with NITA Uganda. And today I have sat through these presentations. I have listened, and largely from the NITA front, I believe as government and as private sector, we're on the same front. You've had the speeches from the ministers, you've had the speeches from the group CEO, NBS here, and the direction from UCC. In terms of most of the questions that were asked here today, we would say we're on the same page. We're all looking at the growth of the digital future for Ugandan, and of course benefiting the Ugandan citizen in terms of service delivery, but in terms of standards of living through digitization. So what we've done as government is essentially we've done the connectivity. We have the UCC, my counterpart from UCC talked about the coverage that we have done. The ministers talked about the coverage. The group CEO talked about the fact that even from his own village in Ntungamo, people can now access 5G internet. So in terms of connectivity, we are done. And then with digitization, with all the innovators here, with all the apps that are coming up, with all the different social media platforms and capabilities with AI, we are on the right page. But the biggest question here is how safe are we as we digitize, as we work on these platforms? So in terms of connectivity, we are on the right path. But the biggest issue is how do we now translate from the connectivity aspect where we're building infrastructure into building trust in these applications so that we have applications that we can fully utilize knowing that they're actually safe. So what we've done here is on the 15th of this month, the Honorable Minister for ICT, Right Honorable Lady Justice Lumumba, did launch the upgrade of the National Information Security Framework. This happened about 2 weeks ago. And this particular upgrade was trying to take care of these different emerging technologies. So basically, to move us from the connectivity point into building an ecosystem that we can actually trust and be able to use through these different innovations and e-services. So the National Information Security Framework is basically a framework that is built on building digital trust for Ugandans. And I'll take you through some of the different aspects of that framework and what we are looking at in terms of what you as citizens or users of these different platforms, how can you safeguard your usage and how can you be compliant in terms of the different standards and requirements. So the digital economy basically touches every Ugandan. We have government institutions, we have the citizens using the different platforms like mobile money, the identity systems, the e-services. We have government, the different public services that we use, services like the e-passports, the driving permits, the national ID, and all your particular data. We have businesses, you own businesses, you're doing digital payments, and then the different operations and your different collaborations with different players, whether locally here in Uganda or outside Uganda. And of course, we have the innovators here today. As you develop these platforms, what are the things that you need to keep in mind in terms of building secure systems? This is what the framework brings in. But in doing all these different things, we're trying to build trust, because trust is the currency that is going to keep all these different ideas we have working. Without trust, these things will drop. How would you feel about if an app was launched? You've seen some of these apps that come up. They're like schemes. I don't know the actual name, but they are schemes that come up. Maybe schemes to do with cryptocurrency. Just when you feel it's too good to be true, you're about to join, then you hear it's no longer online. Then you stop. That means you've lost trust because of what has actually happened. So no matter how long we innovate, if we don't build trust with these systems, they will not work. So what this framework does is it helps us build systems that will not fail, and any digital system that is built around what we have come up with is essentially going to build confidence within the citizens. Now, if you've heard of the international standards around cybersecurity, we have the ISO 27001 and some others around data protection and privacy. So what we did is, knowing that it's very hard for these standards to be customized on the international level to be applicable to a Ugandan SME, a small MDA, a district, but it's still offering services, or maybe an innovator. We got that standard and sort of Ugandanized it, made it have a local aspect to it that is applicable. and without discriminating. That means that it can be used by you as an influencer, as a person who's very heavy on social media. It can be used by an SME, maybe an SME like Milima Security, or maybe a hotel, or maybe a citizen or a farmer who's actually selling their produce online. So it is that practical in nature. So just as I had explained, without trust, no matter how fast, how innovative we become, the delay in us coming up with some of these innovations is what builds complacency. And the complacency is what makes us vulnerable. For instance, if I went out and launched a system or a digital platform, and I don't do the back end, I just quickly patch up, I develop the system as a developer and launch it. So I'm basically being complacent to the fact that, the system is launched, the system is working. I've not done the heavy work to make sure that the system is actually tested and it actually works and citizens can access it. That is where we lose the issue because most of these systems become vulnerable, and then when they are vulnerable, they are hacked into. And when I talk about systems, I want to be a bit more practical. For you as a citizen, your system could be something as simple as your TikTok account, as your social media account, as your Facebook, or as your email. That's your system because you use it to communicate. So it's not about what complicated systems, because this is what the hackers actually use to get to you. You've heard of this common scenario of WhatsApp takeovers. I think most of you have experienced these. These come from our practical, how we use the internet or how we use platforms. You may not have been affected, but you've actually seen a victim who has been affected and someone is soliciting money. So the whole ecosystem is digitized in that way, but it comes from how you as an individual use your WhatsApp platform. So when I talk about systems, I am actually referring to whatever digital platform you use as an individual, okay? So we need to be able to trust, even within your own small application like WhatsApp, you can build certain practices that ensure that your WhatsApp is safe, and then you can know that you can actually trust it. Or even when you're doing digital payments, you're doing maybe mobile money transactions, you can build certain safeguards, which this particular framework is built on ensuring that you can achieve that. Okay. So what the framework, what we've built is basically a playbook. We call it a playbook for digital trust, and it's more of a policy paper, but it gets into an actionable system by the different areas that it covers. With this framework, we are covering, for instance, the question of what we have in place. So we've put up policies, standards, and basically from these, from a simple baseline, you would know what is the basic standard or policy I can put in place regards my usage of any system. Remember, the target is government entities, government services, but also citizens as they actually use these particular services. Then it also explains how to use these particular toolkits through templates and gives guidance on how basic, simple controls can be applied within how you use these particular systems. Then it gives some sort of assurance where you can actually test the evidence and see that what you have applied from the guidance we've given you is actually practical. So for instance, it's like how you build a system, put the controls in place, and try to hack yourself. You've heard of the concept of vulnerability penetration testing. That's the same concept that we're actually talking about here. Then you're able to actually see and visualize your risk, or maybe your appetite, or maybe your exposure to these cybersecurity threats through the reports that come out from implementing some of these toolkits. So put simply, the NIST framework helps institutions to know what to protect, how to protect it, and how to prove that in actual sense it's actually protected. So we're covering all these. Then the what to protect, the how to protect it, how to prove it, and how to improve it. The details, and by the way, the framework is actually accessible on the NITA website if you need to access it. It's actually a downloadable policy document. and the other standards can also be shared with with those who are interested in implementation. Now, this is a system that NITA is auditing government organization and government systems on in order to give confidence to citizens that actually you can actually trust this system. We've had very minimal scenarios of government systems going down or being hit. We have very few. And that is from this particular practice. I talked about the fact that this is an update. We had this framework come out in 2014, and we recently did an update of the framework to cover aspects of emerging technologies, aspects of AI. There's a very clear discussion in how do we use AI. We're very interested in learning and in growing and using artificial intelligence, but we need to understand, just like the previous speaker said, you don't know, as you ask an AI to do a presentation for you, if you don't understand how it did it, you don't know what actually runs behind this particular AI. In cybersecurity, we've come to learn that simple things as picture, for instance, or as I'll give you a scenario of how some of WhatsApp has happened. It's no longer about links, because you've been taught about your phishing trainings that when you click a link, the link means the hacker exposes you. But now they've gotten so sophisticated that they can put a code in an image. So you simply download the image, you have no controls, the image goes into fire. Behind the image, there are codes that can run what you call executables. So they pre-install, they install themselves on your application, on your phone. That is the level of sophistication. So if you don't understand what's behind, you may not be able to understand how exposed you are. But these simple practices that we put in place are able to protect us. We're going to say we're going to run away from digitization or from innovation or from using AI, but can we use it responsibly? Can we have basic human controls in our application of this technology? Okay. So in this system, if you've known about the standards I just talked about, the ISO standards, we got about 181 verified controls, and then customize these controls into about 8 practical sections covering risk management, data protection and privacy, cloud services, AI governance, incident response, which basically looks at what happens, for instance, if your WhatsApp is hacked, what happens if a government system goes down? What are the procedures that the people responsible for these systems are supposed to go into? Issues to do with people security. There's a concept here about human capital, and one of the biggest issues that we have in the cybersecurity space is that whereas we can control a lot of things through the different implementations we can do around building secure systems, restricting access, putting heavy passwords, building perimeter firewalls, etc. We have the biggest issue, which is the human factor. Most of the most complicated cybersecurity attacks actually come from the human factor. So you need to be, from this, you're able to tell even human behavior. The only control that I've seen in cybersecurity that controls the human factor is you being able to identify that there is a change in someone's behavior. So you have to have that kind of analytical skill to say, okay, maybe Johnson works for bank ABCD. He comes in 8 a.m. and leaves at 5. But for the last 7 days, he's coming in at 6:30 and he's leaving at midnight. That's already a red flag. If you're actually very it's a red flag. What is he doing? Why is he coming in early? It's the same work he was doing for the last 5 years, but he comes in now at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. He's there doing nothing because probably the bank systems open at 8 a.m., but then he leaves very, very late when everyone is what? So sometimes those are some of the practical skills that you can get from the cybersecurity awareness, and even identifying people who might be the biggest risk to your exposure. Then, of course, we have the categorization of critical infrastructure. To us as government, critical infrastructure is the infrastructure that would heavily affect citizens if it actually went down. People in this particular sector are the people in the energy sector, like UEDCL, National Water. Imagine if we had a power blackout. And now we know that with the digitization, someone doesn't have to go and cut the wire. No, they just log into the system, shut it down, restrict access, and take control from the people who are supposed to be accessing. So this particular sector is taken out of the normal sector and given particular special attention. That's why we call them critical infrastructure. Then, of course, secure development. So in the framework, we have 7 standards that cover the risk assessment, accreditation, classification, personal security, physical security, and incident management, as well as data protection and privacy. So the framework does not necessarily now, from the different points I've been talking about, it's not just about IT people and government systems. It's about the citizen. I'll focus more on the citizen. Because as a citizen, you need to know how to use services in a safer way. What can I do? For instance, if I'm going to transact with my bank, what are those controls? How do I even identify red flags? How do I use government services safely? And then how do I control my privacy? We have the Data Protection and Privacy Act has a lot of guidelines for individuals, even something as us being here. The pictures that are being taken, the videos that are going on TV, there must be some sort of consent to that, because otherwise it exposes you. It exposes you when you share certain things on social media. We have the best common practice of weak passwords. And some of us use our birthdays, our children as the passwords, because you're trying to do something that you may not what? You may not forget. But if I do some reconnaissance on you and I want to really hack you, that's where I start from. I go on your social media, I see your birthday because you put it there. I get your name, I get your year of birth, I get your children. Now I start trying out from there. There are certain applications online that can actually give you, there are bots, like AI bots that can attempt brute force attacks into breaking passwords in millions of seconds. So if you have a simple password, it's basically be able to crack it. I just have to give it the pointers. The name is Johnson, he's born on this date, he has a child by this name, they go to this school, his mother is this, his father is this. Then it runs. And somehow it's very, very easy to crack such passwords. So how you expose yourself online is key. Then having confidence online, where you're now transacting, knowing that, for instance, if I can stand and say that, you know what, even as I speak, whereas I have an e-wallet on my phone, maybe with MTN or Stanbic or maybe Airtel, because I have two-factor authentication that sits probably on another device or maybe on a SIM card in another phone, I am confident that even if someone stole my phone, there's a limit as to where they can get. You could have, I know there are some e-wallets applications that allow for the PIN in the phone to be entered, but still sends an SMS. But you have to activate this on your own. You can even go as far as having 4-factor authentication through different applications. Yes, 4. It's possible. So you have from one factor, you have your password, then it sends a PIN to your SMS, then it sends to your Google Authenticator. Yes, for very complicated systems, that's what we're actually doing. Or it even sends a code to someone else. Or even the fact that if it's say access to a data center, access to it has to happen when there are 2 or 3 individuals there at the same time. That means it's a control. That means if I'm accessing the data center, I have one key for one lock. Julius has to be there physically, and then another person has to log in and send us the code. So it's a control that you can put in place. These are all different practices we can do for what we call zero trust systems. So in the private sector, also, the moment you get exposed, you lose customer confidence, okay? If I gave you a scenario of you launch an application, people are signing up for it, and then they hear their data is being exposed. You lose customer confidence. Then on the government side, we are building accountable services. We have set up common baselines that where this particular framework is practical to whether it's a district local government or a big MDA, like maybe a ministry, like a Ministry of ICT. So it's practical at a district level, at a primary school level, even if it's a headmaster, how do they actually expose their children? I've seen so many TikToks of schools, children dancing, as schools are actually promoting they're promoting their businesses, but did the parent consent? What happens if that child is actually exposed? Someone can actually get that image of the child and create a 21-year-old version of themselves and create a national ID. So by the time your child is actually creating a national ID, there's someone who exists who actually looks like them in the digital space. So we need to be very careful how much we expose of ourselves. And of course, for the developers, it encourages you to develop applications with security by design, and then have safe products and have trusted innovations. You don't just use, you've seen applications that come up, they're able to automatically build applications for you, but behind that code, there's a hacker who's actually leaving remote access for him to eventually be able to pull that off, okay? So what this system does in building trust is it gives you baselines to know how to put access control to your systems, then verify and test that whatever access control you put actually does what? Actually works. Then improve in case there are gaps, then see exactly how you're doing. So the framework can only work and when it's actually being used. And the cycle is the continuous improvement, which we are doing almost every year. So for the government entities, the government systems, we assess them today, we assess them next year again for improvement. And it's a bit of a live framework that allows for improvement. As technology changes, we put in those additional controls as we go on. So you can essentially start from anywhere, okay? You can start from the baseline level. For instance, the foundational level. It's a universal starting baselines, essential, which establishes essential minimum controls. Something as simple as you having a password to accessing your systems. This is where you can start from. So then you can go to the enhanced high-risk entities where we put extra security programs, where we have things like access control, physical access. We even go into now, like on the critical national systems, we even determine where exactly you establish these systems. If you're talking about a national data center, it wouldn't make sense to have a national data center in a highly populated area in case there is a national crisis and people can come in there, they would be able to break that system. But if you put it in a remote area, not easily accessed, and if anyone is actually going there, you would actually see them almost 100 kilometers away approaching that particular center. So for such installations, we also look at guidelines around their physical locations. So the goal is not perfection in one day. We can start from the baselines, but the goal is continuous and measurable improvement as we digitize and improve our access to technology. So what do we have to do next? One, as leaders, we need to make cybersecurity a priority. Give it budgets. I don't know if there are some government people present today, but even in the private sector, if you're running applications, don't stop at having the latest maybe server or computer or the fastest network. The more you actually expose yourself in terms of the network, the quicker even the hackers can actually get to your systems. So invest more in cybersecurity as well. Consider it. Then for institutions, we ask you to nominate people who are going to own and be able to practice this particular guidelines that we're actually putting out. Then for the builders, we ask you to design secure products. From the first line of code, it should be built in a secure, have security by design. As you build the first initial, maybe data input page, what metrics have you put there so that maybe there's no automation of data entry, you don't have a chatbot entering data, you have those controls in place. You've seen these things where you're signing in and they say, verify that you're not a what? A robot. That's still technology that actually checks whether it's a human being who's hacking, who's logging in, or it's actually a system that is logging in. Then, of course, for the citizens, we empower you to practice cyber hygiene and demand for safe services from the different government entities. You can even ask them for the certification from NITA for that particular service. Was this system reviewed by NITA? Is it safe? Can I actually use it? Okay. So, as I conclude, for us, complacency is the vulnerability. If we think that we're just digitizing and improving and going online and using AI to make our work easier without knowing what sits behind, that is our biggest vulnerability. And that's what the hackers are going to explore. So trust will not happen by accident. It must be built, it must be measured, and it must be protected together. The minister talked about, and I think even the group CEO for NBS, this is a call for collaboration between the private sector and government. As government, you need to be our check to ensure, because the systems that we put out are actually supposed to be supporting you. So if they're not safe, we are also not doing our work. So you can be our checkers or our checklist to ensure that as we digitize and improve government services, we're also doing them in a safe way. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to conclude this presentation, and thank you very much for listening in.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Indeed, you're doing amazing work with NITA-U. Ladies and gentlemen, we now break off for lunch. We'll be back here with more presentations, and that will be at exactly 2 p.m. The state of the digital economy does continue. We're just looking forward to more conversations in the afternoon. For our audience on TV, we now link to Shamim Nabakoza to start off with NBS Live at 1. Shamim, take it away. All right, for the audience in the room, you'll be guided to where the lunch is going to be. Immediately exit the room on your right. Down in the tent, we'll see you at 2 p.m. Good afternoon.